96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. Former Finance Minister Peter Turnquest slamming the government subdivision plan. Turnquest also clashing with Speaker Moultrie over his claims against an atheist civil servant. Hundreds to be made permanent and many to get promotions in the public service. Plus, in our Morning Blend business discussion, how much say should your employers say about what you say on your social media? We're going to get into that this morning. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. 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 Wake up, wake up.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Friday, June 11th, 2021. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Stephen Hanna will be joining us. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, the government's access to the Affordable Homes Amendment Bill 2021, which carves out tax benefits for a select group of homeowners, is discriminatory and goes against the principle of fairness and equal treatment under the law. That's according to East Grand Bahama MP Peter Turnquest, who was speaking during the 2021-2022 budget debate yesterday in the House. He said, quote, "This bill is extremely worrisome to me as it is inherently discriminatory on many fronts, though well-intentioned. Every citizen of the Bahamas is an equal taxpayer and has an inalienable right to enjoy equal benefits provided by the state. This bill, however, seeks to carve out benefits for a specific group to the ultimate exclusion of other groups equally as disenfranchised when it comes to the affordability of land and construction." Turnquest says he's not sure how they'll make up for the revenue foregone, but he questioned what would happen to anyone unlucky enough to be receiving any of the lots. The bill was tabled with the budget bills, and it grants the Minister of Finance the ability to prescribe the criteria for approval of applicants and applications. Once the minister is satisfied that the application relates to a service lot in a designated subdivision and the criteria of the applicant is met, he may grant approval of the application. Applicants are also exempted from real property tax for 5 years from the date of the certificate of occupancy. Turnquist also clashing with House Speaker Moultrie. Tensions rose between the former finance minister and Moultrie after Turnquist attempted to defend the acting financial secretary from certain comments made by the speaker on Tuesday. On Tuesday, Moultrie said he met with a man who publicly said he does not believe in God, who gave him, quote, all reasons why no food will be coming into the parliament for the members of this parliament last year. Last year, as a means to reduce expenditure in all non-essential areas, the government ended the practice of House of Assembly providing breakfast and lunch for members. During that debate yesterday, Turnquist felt compelled to address the matter, saying that it was not the acting financial secretary, Marlon Johnson, who made that decision, and that he himself made the decision when he was Minister of Finance. Public Service National Insurance Minister Brenzel Roll announcing that the government is preparing to make more than 1,000 individuals who are enrolled in the 52-week jobs program permanent. In all, 1,102 people will be members of the permanent staff. He said 700 temporary staff in the Ministry of Education, including security officers, teachers' aides, nurses' aides, and people who were brought in are now going to be permanent. He says this demonstrates that the F&M government has a heart for workers. Roll also saying the government has regularized more than 600 government workers. He described them as individuals who were working faithfully for years on temporary month-to-month contracts. Overseas leaders from the Group of 7 industrialized nations are set to commit at their summit to sharing at least 1 billion coronavirus shots with struggling countries around the world, half the doses coming from the U.S. and 100 million from the U.K. Vaccine sharing commitments from U.S. President Joe Biden and British Prime Minister Boris Johnson set the stage for the G7 meeting in southwest England, where leaders will pivot today from opening greetings and a family photo directly into a session on building back better from COVID-19. The leaders hope the meeting in the resort of Carbis Bay will also energize the global economy. On Friday, today, they are set to formally embrace a global minimum tax of at least 15% on corporations, following an agreement reached a week ago by their finance ministers. The minimum is meant to stop companies from using tax havens and other tools to avoid taxes. It represents a potential win for the Biden administration, which has hoped a global minimum tax as a way to pay for infrastructure projects. He's proposed that in addition to creating an alternative that could remove some European countries' digital services taxes that largely hit U.S. tech firms. In sports, a total of 9 pro card opportunities will be up for grabs at the IFBB Pro League World Caribbean Championships. That's the International Federation of Bodybuilding and Fitness. Championships set for June 26th through 27th, right here in the Bahamas at the Grand Hyatt at Bahamar. Event promoter Tim Gardner of the United States saying that when the idea surfaced to bring the popular bodybuilding and fitness event to this country, the only concern was the cost of the resort and accommodations. He said given the COVID-19 climate and the reduced costs that are associated with it, they were able to reasonably facilitate the move of the event. You can read more about it in today's Guardian Sports section. And from the NBA, the Milwaukee Bucks blowing a big lead, then rallying to edge the Brooklyn Nets last night in Game 3 of their Eastern Conference semifinals. The Bucks winning 86-83. Brooklyn still has a 2-1 lead in that semifinal. And the Jazz beating the Clippers 117-111. They have a 2-0 lead in their Western Conference semifinals in the NBA. Meanwhile, the NBA telling its teams Thursday that it intends to return to a normal schedule next season, with training camps opening in late September and the regular season set to begin October 19th. A memo that was sent to teams, a copy of which was obtained by the Associated Press, does not specify when the 2021-22 regular season will end, and that's because it has yet to officially decide if the play-in tournament will return. If it does, and there are no indications that it won't, the likely date to end the regular season will be April 10th. The return to the normal schedule is not an unprecedented or unexpected development, and Commissioner Adam Silver has said several times that the league's intention for the past several months, virus permitting, was to get the league back onto its regular calendar after 2 seasons of schedule havoc because of the pandemic. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your weather for today, we've got pleasant weather and gentle to moderate winds generated by a broad high-pressure system that remains draped across the country. For all areas today, we're looking at partly to mostly sunny, hot, and humid conditions with isolated showers or a thunderstorm becoming fair and warm with a passing shower tonight. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near showers and thunderstorms. Winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet. Current temperatures right now about 79 in Nassau, 79 in Freeport. Look for highs getting up to around 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 73 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook and a look at the tropics coming up after traffic in just a bit. You are listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
It started off the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
BTC is elevating the Bahamas with our super fast fiber internet experience. More people in more places can enjoy the best home connection starting with 100 megabit speeds. With over $6.5 million invested, our network grows stronger each day, delivering the best home internet for all your needs. Call us at 242-225-5282. Visit btcbahamas.com or any retail store to upgrade to the super fast fiber internet experience on the Bahamas' best fiber network.
Digital banking, online, RBC. RBC banking, online, pay your bills anytime.
RBC Digital Banking is so easy. Granny and Granddad can do it. Sign up for online banking or download the RBC Caribbean app.
With RBC, it's safe and easy. Send your money hassle-free. RBC.
Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/bank at home. RBC Royal Bank. Banking reimagined.
Travel less, but vacation more by indulging yourself and your family with the ultimate staycation getaway at Atlantis. Sleep in, relax, play, go out. Say yes to a fantastic staycation in your very own paradise just over the bridge. For reservations, call 363-6483 or visit Atlantis Local on Facebook for details.
Meet Jackie. Jackie's a hard worker with a steady income, but she has a personal loan and multiple credit cards to pay off. To keep her account current, Jackie opted for a loan from Fidelity Bank to consolidate her debt into one monthly payment and earn interest on a built-in savings account. Be like Jackie. Call 356-7764 to book a complimentary financial coaching session. Fidelity also offers virtual assistance. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. Also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Stephen Hanna. Good morning, Stephen Hanna.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, we are here. Good to have you with us as always. Didn't get to talk to you last week because of the holiday. Hope you enjoyed yours.
I don't recall the holiday.
It feels like it was 100 years ago. This
Right.
is a very long
And
week.
this week was quicker.
Was it quicker?
This week went by very quickly. I didn't realize yesterday was Thursday until it was Thursday.
Oh, I just had a conversation this morning saying how it feels like they added days to the week. I think they had 6 days.
I guess one of us is having more fun than the other one.
Yep.
So
Okay, I don't know which one that would be.
I assume it would be me because it's like, wow, the week is gone already.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, great to have you with us. Glad that you're having fun. Hope that continues this morning. And hopefully our listeners are having oh boy. Hopefully our listeners are going to have some fun. They can tweet us and tell us all about it at morningblend969 or facebook.com/morningblend969. Email us morningblend@nasgar.com, or you can text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-GR96 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. The text message is already coming in, so it's going to be an interesting morning, I'm sure. Coming up, more weather and traffic, and in the Morning Blend business, we're going to be talking about you and social media and whether your workplace, your employer, should be monitoring what you post and whether that should mean anything to them, what you say in your private world. Should your boss?
I devised an answer.
You have? Yeah?
Yes.
And we're also going to maybe offend some people by narrowing it down to, saying that this seems to be more of an issue with millennials and Generation Z. It might not be. People, hopefully you will tell us what you think when we get to that segment of the show. And if you think the Gen Xers and baby boomers are doing foolishness as well, then, hey, let's talk about it. But we're going to have some
If they knew how to use the internet, they would be.
You think so?
I think that it's just about the.
And then that's really,
you know what? We'll
that's
talk about
really
it when we
offensive,
get
Stephen, by the way, because as a Gen Xer, I don't know what you're talking about. But hey.
No, I'm saying the proliferation, what Gen Xers use and what Gen Zers use, since you want to use these terms, what they use on the internet is also playing a part of it. Because like TikTok is more prolific than WhatsApp. Gen Xers abuse WhatsApp. And they send all sorts of inappropriate things on WhatsApp. But in WhatsApp, it's a closed loop. You know what I mean? And so it's like it's a different
Well, that's
social
very-
media
that's
platform.
Very interesting. That's a very interesting point. Let's bring that up when we get to Morning Blend business.
Right, that's what I'm saying. We'll talk about that later.
All right, that is fascinating. Didn't think about that. That's going to change this conversation quite a bit. Okay, that's good. That's coming up. But right now, let's talk about what's in the news. And in the news, more excitement, drama in the House of Assembly during this budget debate.
As I said, you realize that the most exciting time ever in the House of Assembly is always around the budget debate.
That's true. That's true.
Like, they
Often
have a
there's lot of-
whole entire year, but it's always the month leading into June.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, oh, somebody slapped somebody. Oh, this person suddenly stands up and tells the prime minister that they don't know what they're talking about. Oh, this like
It's,
where
it's their Oscars. They get to put on a show or something, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, my. Well, this time it was the former finance minister who had a lot to say, giving a critique of where things are, especially since he is no longer in that post. And he had some interesting things to say. The headlines in all the paper, well, the two papers say it. The Nassau Guardian, Turnquest Slam subdivision plan, the Tribune housing plan just isn't fair. That's also referencing Turnquest. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. Before, though, because I think that's going to take up more of our conversation today. Before, let's talk about this clash with the House Speaker over what the Speaker said a few days ago when he talked about having to talk to an atheist about the budget for the House. Okay.
Every day, Halston Moultrie?
Yes.
Mouldy?
Moultrie.
Mouldy?
Let's not do that. But okay. But yes, every
it's
day.
a very difficult name to pronounce.
Is it?
Yeah. But every day he talks is like, I want to eventually agree with you on something, but it's just so difficult because it's like, bro, how is this is not even the Christian thing to do, to be like, I had to talk to an atheist. Like, what are you pointing that out for?
My goodness. Wow.
Like, that's the least Christian thing that you could do.
Yep.
And so it's like you're literally using Christianity as a form of class warfare to say, I'm of a different ilk than this person.
Well,
and that's not what Jesus did.
He often tries to separate himself from others. You remember some of his
but I'm
other
saying
comments.
that's not how it works.
No, it's awful.
It's not supposed to be like, let me show off how superior I am to you.
All right, so for those who aren't familiar with what we're talking about, take a listen to what happened, and this story by Kyle Joaquin gives you a good summary of it all.
In your commentary, Mr. Speaker, you unfortunately inadvertently misled the House when you chastised the acting financial secretary for discontinuing
Honorable member. And that was how it all started. East Grand Bahama MP Peter Turnquest coming to the defense of his former colleague, acting financial secretary Marlon Johnson, after Moultrie brought up an interaction he had with Johnson to Parliament and addressed it from the chair. Only problem is, Moultrie says he never said Johnson's name.
The remarks I made with respect to the person that I addressed, I thought about those remarks before I made them, and I stand by them. I don't see them as an attack on a civil servant.
But if we were to take a look back at Moutrie's statement on Tuesday, he also brought up the fact that Johnson is an atheist, a belief he doesn't support.
To be an atheist sits across the table from me, my first reaction is the devil is a liar.
In Parliament Thursday afternoon, Moultrie doubled down on why he brought it up.
He expressed his beliefs publicly. I have issues with those beliefs because they are inconsistent with mine.
Moultrie said he felt he was disrespected after he questioned why there would be no more food for parliamentarians last year and another issue concerning the budget. But as Turnquest sought to explain, again, he was cut off by the House Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, it would have been helpful if you had let me finish my
Remember, you started off wrong.
No, Mr. Speaker.
You started off accusing the chair of attacking a civil servant.
With due respect, Mr. Speaker, you have a right to state your opinion. I have a right to state my opinion.
And your opinion cannot infringe on my rights.
I have not 1 minute.
That is
on your right.
That is
But I do
exactly
have-
what I just expressed to you.
No, Mr.
You
Speaker.
are infringing on my rights.
Eventually, Turnquest got to clear the air and explained that it was actually him who made the decision, not Johnson.
So I insisted on canceling that perk for both the cabinet and the legislative branches.
Oh, yeah, Archive walking with the report there. I was waiting for Peter Turnquest to say, "What you gotta say now, Mr. Speaker?" But he didn't do that. Okay, so this
I have several points.
Yeah.
To make concerning. You said it's Moultrie. I'm sure that history will regard him well. With that said, what is he talking about? All right, because he starts off by saying he's sitting across from somebody whose beliefs are inconsistent with his. Well, I just want him to know that even without counting a bunch of other, parties or whatever, it's like there are a lot of people whose beliefs are inconsistent with his, with the speaker. The speaker was a part of the PLP. There are people whose beliefs are inconsistent with the PLP party. Then he's a part of the FNM. There are people whose beliefs are inconsistent with that. And now he's wandering in the wilderness alone, desiring to lose his $400 deposit. And there are people who are like, why don't you stop doing your foolishness? And so their beliefs are inconsistent with that. That doesn't mean that they should then stand up and disrespect him specifically for that. I'm sure there are other things they could disrespect him for, but not that, right? Because one of the things in the Constitution is that you have, right, freedom of, what was it called? I forget the exact way we phrase it in the Constitution, but you have the right to make up your own mind about things. Like, no one could tell you, oh, this is how you have to think, and your beliefs have to be this way. And that goes across the board, not just for religion, but with anything, right? And so it's like, for him to say his beliefs are inconsistent with mine, and therefore I hold some level of prejudice against this person, that's problematic for a organization, for him to be the Speaker of the House. He's leading a group of people whose job it is to not only uphold the Constitution, but to make laws that are in tune with the Constitution, but he himself is not in tune with the Constitution in that regard. And he's like, oh, when he sees this man, he says to himself, the devil is a liar. Well, okay, let's assume the devil is a liar. Does not the devil lie to us all? It's like you making it seem as though that this man's lack of faith in Christ is the only sin in the world. There are other sins that most of us are guilty of. Do you look across the table at your wife and say, the devil is a liar because she may have withheld information from you, or she did something at one point? It's like we've all
He
sinned.
probably does. But hey.
I'm saying we've all sinned. Like, so it's like, where do you get off at from your literal high chair saying, I look across the table and say the devil is a liar, right? When it's like, we're a part of a political party. There's no political party in this country that has been 100% honest with the Bahamian people. And that's the ones who got in and the ones who didn't get in, right? Being part of a political party itself is kind of you signing up to be a part of the devil's fold.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about people who lie and speaking lies and all this stuff.
You could look at it that way, but deeper and more concerning is for people who are really.
Last bit, I promise, right?
You're going on long. Go on.
Right? Which leads us to the point where it's like, why he's so upset. He is so upset because as a man who I'm certain can purchase his own breakfast and lunch, because I can purchase my own breakfast and lunch, right? You could purchase your own breakfast and lunch. The person on the side of the road begging for $1 outside of Super Value, we expect them to buy their own breakfast and lunch, right? He's mad because he no longer gets a free breakfast and lunch. And as a person who purports to be a Christian, he knows what Christ said to the young rich ruler, right? If you are so great and holy The only thing left for you to do is give up all of your wealth and come follow me, right? You are supposed to be giving up of things, not begging for more things. That's not the role of a Christian. And so to me, everything that he said, even in his defense of himself, is ridiculous.
Yep.
I just wish he would stop doing whatever this is, because I wish he would seek counsel with someone before he opens his mouth in the House of Assembly, because I am not eagerly awaiting for him to say dumb things.
Yeah. Well, what needs to happen is that the Prime Minister does need to really ring this bell so we can be done with a lot of these people that are really getting on our nerves now, right? This is getting ridiculous, and this needs to end as quickly as possible. And as you say, yes, those, he can't even see it on that level, that he is meeting with people who don't share his ideologies every day. But of more concern is the people who really are different, because you could say, hey, well, at least we're all Christian people. But what about those who do not share his...
Christian?
Well, people will say those things, right? But if you are really not, if you are of a different religion or a different sexual orientation, different country, I mean, why does this... And it seems to be a pattern with the speaker. This always is a problem for him, and it's very disturbing. And we just, as I said, need to be done with this now. This is getting annoying. This is getting annoying. There were other things in the House this past week. Like, this is ridiculous. We're not getting anything accomplished at all.
Well, we never do during the budget debate. There's always a bunch of random, pointless arguments.
Yeah. Well, not even just during the budget debate. At all. At all. And
yeah, but I mean, but specifically this, like, nothing's going to stop this budget from going through, right? We're not even going to really discuss it with any serious vigor, right? You have the occasional person saying, "Oh, I don't agree with this one specific part," and then it's going to go through. So it's like, this is all, like, I've stopped paying attention to it for years now, because it's just like, okay. There was a row. There was a big bust up.
Yeah. Let's hear
nothing.
What do you have to say, folks? We want to get on to the other matter that Turnquest brought up, but let's hear what you have to say about this quickly. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, and you can tweet us, Facebook us, or text us, 422-4796. A lot of text messages. We'll get to those in a bit. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Okay. Call us back. Let's get to the messages. This person says here, that's about the land. We'll get to that in a second. This one says, a person's personal belief should have nothing to do with their suitability for a job. However, that appointment would never be made with a real Westminster system. What now? That appointment would never be made in a real... Well, I don't know what you mean by that. What do you mean, Texter? Which appointment?
It's like, if you believe that there are no atheists inside the British system.
I don't know if that's what they mean, but whatever they mean is not clear. Okay. This one says, I love the speaker. He just brings his truth to the House and represents the feelings of many. Man, listen, he just has no filter and is not politically correct. I love that he brings this level of diversity. Okay.
What level of diversity?
That's another person from the 1800s. That's great. Glad that you found your company. Another
That's
one.
That's not diversity.
Don't know. This one says, thank you so much. I was feeling down, but this report has lifted my spirit. Tom and Jerry ain't got nothing on these fellas. They better walk in their calling. Okay. My. This one says, remember, you can't criticize government, legalization, and legalization. I think you're trying to say legislature. And executives equal judiciary, and we all know you can't criticize the judiciary, so stop it. I don't know what you're talking about, but you need to stop it. That's what the... Anyway, okay. Go back to the communist country you came from. Another one here. Tired of them getting...
the communists out of this.
Oh, getting tired of them getting fat off our money. Buy your own food. Okay, there you go. And this one says here, Dwight and Stephen, are we surprised of what comes out of Hallie's mouth? This boy, I think they're trying to say, is the epitome of what a Christian should not be, attacking a public servant for his big belly. What now? I don't know if that's... Did he say that too?
No. Not Marlon's big belly.
He said another one?
The writer of the text is referring to Hallison's big belly.
Oh, I don't know if that's what he... How did you get
No,
to
that's
that?
what he's saying. Because he's saying attacking the person for, and he's giving the reason. He may not have used punctuation. He's saying... that Hallison is attacking Marlon Johnson, for his big belly.
No, that's not what it says. That's not what it says. Anyway, can't wait to see him lose his deposit. Okay. Why would 4 years big belly just be right there? Well, let's not try to interpret the text messages.
That's how English language works.
That's not what they're saying. Anyway, please clarify something for me. The Deputy Prime Minister said that he made the decision to discontinue the practice of providing food for cabinet and the legislative branches. He also justified doing so, which I think is considerate, mindful of the present economic climate. Is Mr. Moultrie complaining or upset about the discontinuation of this practice? Is he really against the discontinuation of this practice, which will no doubt assist most of them in losing weight? I hope the voting public is listening.
Somebody else referring to that big belly.
He said I think he is opposed he was opposed to it, but it's back. And he was not happy that an atheist was telling him that it was being discontinued. So, okay, yeah.
What does that have to do with anything? That's like, and honestly, it would not be beyond him to say he was upset that a woman told him to that this was happening.
Why?
It's like you are upset at you're upset at both the message and how dare they send this person to send you the message.
Yes. Another one here. So if you're not of the same religion as the speaker, then he sees you as the devil. This is utter nonsense by him. Yeah. Another one here. I pray that this honorable speaker's last foray into public service, that this is his last foray, and that he will go silently into the dark night with his gargantuan ego and, can I say this word? I don't know if I can say that.
Depends on how you pronounce it.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Can we start a petition to get rid of Moultrie? That's a text. And another one. I'm a Nassau Village resident and voter. I'm hoping the Prime Minister soon rings the bell for a general election, too, so that we can rid ourselves and get some relief from this man. Yikes. All right. And this one says the situation the speaker could have handled differently, just like every other problem in this country. There is a problem with respecting each other. Mr. Turnquest sounds very good in his reasoning to stop the lunch, but why didn't he communicate that to the speaker? These men who the leader called, who lead us, need to be mature and respect one another. I have no doubt that Marlon Johnson was explaining it. And explaining it well, but the speaker was all caught up in him being an atheist.
Right, and then the other thing is like, in addition to that, right, is like, why is it that we expect the top person who is supposed to be doing something great for the country to drop everything and answer every basic question? Why would the Minister of Finance need to come and sit down with you at lunch and hold your hand and walk you through why he's canceling the lunch program for adult millionaires? That's ridiculous. Like, Marlon Johnson shouldn't even have to come. That should have been an email. Like if I ask that question, unless I'm saying I would like you on a show to interview you, there's no, why would the Minister of Finance sit down with me?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. That's the highest, haughtiest, most arrogant thing to assume. If I have a problem with the Prime Minister, right, and I think what the Prime Minister is doing, he's going in the wrong direction, I expect the Prime Minister to show up in my house. I don't even live in this man's constituency. Why is he going to come to my house, sit down at my table, and hold my hand for 4 hours to explain to me why he's doing what he's doing?
Yep. The texter says, yes, Stephen, you're right about what they meant. They meant that, yes, the speaker is the one with the big belly, and he shouldn't have
I know. Because I understand how the English language works.
Well, okay.
Dwight, on the other hand, is very rigid in his reading and interpretation of things.
Yes. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Okay. This person says, if you are not a man married to a true Bahamian woman and straight and Christian, the speaker has a problem with you. The devil is a liar.
He probably has such a problem. Anyway, never mind. Let me not make this a petty situation.
No, don't do that.
The Constitution
you said that.
Talks about freedom of conscience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's all we need to know, right? Nobody could tell you what to think. You must, every man, and they always use it as an excuse in the House of Assembly, every man must act according to his conscience when they disagree with something or when they are explaining why they didn't vote the way that they were supposed to vote for the people who they were elected to serve. Every man must act according to his conscience. But for some reason, some people believe only them have conscience because only them is people.
Let's take these calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning to all.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, it seems like everybody's concerned about the personalities of the people in Parliament, right? and their spots on menial issues, rather than issues of the money that answer all our needs. You see, the former Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, he talked about the discrimination and this land thing, right? But what about the bills that he did that were discriminatory? The singing Freeport, what about those? You see, the things that really matters, the money, the fiscal development of this country, the physical infrastructure of this company, of this country, and that's sad, and then talking about the speaker, I feel that the speaker, no man is perfect, and the speaker has more integrity than all of those folks, And
if the measurment of a man is his imperfection, then the speaker is the most
You
man.
can't have everybody talking at the same time. Everybody can't talk at the same time. All right, thanks a lot, caller.
If imperfection is the measure of a man, the speaker is more man than all of us.
Let's take these quickly. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
A godly day to you and Voice, along
Good
with
morning.
you and Steve and Dwight.
Hi.
Dwight, several things I want to say. Number one is, I would give them a complimentary meal because they work late at nights at times.
At times.
Yeah.
Okay.
How much time she's got a
Other
free
thing
meal
is,
at
right?
your 9 to 5?
If the bell were to be wrong, right, we would still be going through this bunch of immaturities in there.
Oh,
They should not bring their biasness to each other in there because we put them in there to do business, to work with the Bahamian people. If you have a problem with each other, then you all get together among yourself in a parliamentary room or something like that and reconcile the situation. But we don't need to hear their biases. Deal with the work in which you send there to do. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure the foolishness will continue. Absolutely. Because that's what happens. That's the type of people attracted to our current system of politics. But I'm just tired of some of these people. Some of these have run their course. So,
But that's the thing, Dwight. It's not necessarily, and this is the most important thing, for everybody, including Halason Mutri, Halasaith, the speaker. It's important for everybody to understand this. Individuals are not the problem. The problem is the system in which the individuals find themselves. Because it's been a while. This is the second speaker that has been acting in such a manner. So either the way that they are selecting the speaker is problematic, either the role of the speaker is problematic, either it's not clearly defined. It's like this has happened before, and it seems like this is now becoming a trend, that this is how the Speaker of the House behaves. We have the same issue with MPs. It's clearly that this is a trend. This is how MPs behave. This is how cabinet ministers behave, where they did not, like all along, they pushed forward personal bills that were injurious to the Bahamian people, and everybody had a problem with it, everybody complained, and the minute they step out, they're like, I don't like this, I don't like that, right? And so something must be done with the system, because we could replace all these men tomorrow, and I promise you, the next Speaker of the House will do the exact same thing if you keep on picking the same type of person and putting them in the same type of situation.
Yeah. All right, this text as we go to the break, someone says, what is the speaker's favorite color? I would hate to sit across him in the wrong color shirt. That's right. The devil is a liar. You know that, so that'd be a problem.
His favorite color is purple. Something about royalty and some weird delusion about royalty.
Okay. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what Turnquist said about the housing plan, the subdivision plan for young professionals. We'll get into that. Stay with us.
Love me how you couldn't give me everything, and now you want it from me. Yeah, it's funny how it's different now that I got somebody. Yeah, it's funny. Ooh, yeah, it's funny.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
.35 the time for your morning blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. In your real-time traffic, Smile Butler Highway, your hot spot this morning. Heavy traffic in both lanes northbound from Fire Trail all the way up to Tawny Williams Darling Highway. Glaston Road looking a little bit better for you, but still heavy traffic as you get halfway up to JFK Drive in the northbound lane this morning. Elsewhere, not looking so bad so far. We've got Prince Charles Drive and Beatrice Avenue. That intersection there got some heavy traffic there as you wait at the light. And some building traffic along East Street between Soldier and the roundabout with Independence Highway, East-West Highway. Blue Hill Road not looking too bad so far this morning, but we'll have another update for you after the 8 o'clock news. That's your Morning Blend Traffic Alert brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, Banking Reimagined. And it's time for another check of your weather for this morning. We've got pleasant weather, gentle to moderate winds, and it's all being generated by that broad high-pressure system that remains draped across the Bahamas. For all areas today, we're expecting partly to mostly sunny, hot, and humid conditions with isolated showers or a thunderstorm becoming fair and warm with a passing shower tonight. Gusty winds and higher seas can be expected in showers and thunderstorms. High temperatures getting up to around 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 73 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. In your extended outlook, winds will continue to lighten across the Bahamas as the high-pressure ridge will move over the area. And an upper-level trough will bring increased shower activity to the extreme northwest Bahamas by Sunday. So for tomorrow, Saturday, partly sunny, hot and humid with isolated showers and a thunderstorm. Fair and warm at night. Sunday, cloudy and breezy with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. In the extreme northwest Bahamas, partly sunny, hot, and sticky with isolated showers elsewhere. In the tropics are quiet. Tropical cyclone formation not expected over the next 5 days. That's your morning blend weather check brought to you by Rev Cable Bahamas. You and us together.
Roaming just got easier. Say hello to more with our new Liberty Prime plan. With more minutes, more texts, and more data to do the things you love right here at home and even when you travel. With the all-new Liberty Prime, Liberty Premium, and Liberty Elite, you've got one less worry. Roam again. Alive. Believe in best.
Believe in best.
Go cashless with CIBC First Caribbean and enjoy enhanced safety features with our Visa debit and credit cards. Pair them with our mobile app and turn on transaction alerts. You'll receive an alert every time your card is used, so you're always in the know. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more information. Go cashless with CIBC First Caribbean.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
From the Bahamas, it's the place you vacation. Slime domino, every occasion.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Stephen Hanna on this Friday, finally Friday morning. And we were talking about what's in the news, talking about what happened in the House. We're going to leave that spat between Turnquest and House Speaker Halton Moultrie. But we continue to talk about it. Peter Turnquest, the former finance minister, speaking yesterday, criticizing the government's subdivision plan for young professionals. He says it's discriminatory. We've heard that before from many other people, but here's why Peter Turnquest thinks it is in this report from our Christina Dragovich with our television partners, Our News.
Former Finance Minister and East Grand Bahama MP Peter Turnquest blasting government's plans for a new residential community in Western New Providence just for young professionals. Turnquest says aside from legal challenges that can arise, the Access to Affordable Homes Amendment Bill 2021 is outright discriminatory.
This bill is extremely worrisome to me, as it is inherently discriminatory on many fronts, though well-intentioned. I get the laudable intent, but in my mind, this bill goes against the principle of fairness and equal treatment under the law and invites a court challenge. I recommend finding another way.
Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis has explained that government is looking to sell high-end lots in Western New Providence for as low as $50,000, with a number of concessions for young professionals. Turnquest says every Bahamian citizen is an equal taxpayer. He adds the bill is Nassau-centric and seeks to provide tax concessions to one group over another.
What if a young professional is unlucky in receiving one of these lots? Why should they be penalized in the compounding of insult to injury? They're having to pay full price for their own lot, as well as full customs duties for the construction of a home and property taxes, while across the fence, their friend and neighbor is fully exempted and subsidized.
Well, the East Grand Bahama MP also House Speaker Halton Moultrie.
Okay, there we go. Our report from Christina Dragovich there. Let's talk about it. What do you make of what he's saying there? We've had this debate many times before, but he's bringing it back up there. Nassau-centric, he says, discriminatory. Some of it I just don't understand. I really just can't understand some of the arguments that people are making here. And if you are unlucky to secure a lot, that's unfortunate, but that's generally how it works. Sadly,
you're already in a state of unluckiness, having been born in a country where evil capitalists make it impossible to secure a lot. Oh, okay. It's like that's where we already are. We're already at the state of unluckiness, right? So it's like his interpretation of it makes an assumption that everybody was going to get a piece of property in the first place. This is almost like some sort of lottery where, like, hopefully 10 to 50 people get out of it something, but it's like...
All right, let's try to drill down and see what part of it he's saying is discriminatory, because
he's saying the same thing that people
limited.
have been saying, all right? And the thing is, he is being at best facetious, all right? When he says that all Bahamians are equal taxpayers, because that's not true. By no measure are all Bahamians equal taxpayers, all right? Even though we all pay taxes, once you participate in the economy in any way, you pay taxes involuntarily, but we are not all equal taxpayers, because the percentage of tax that I pay is higher than the percentage of tax that somebody who's a millionaire pays because of the type of taxes that we have.
Yeah.
So he's being disingenuous in that statement in of itself, right? And so it makes me, I find it difficult to accept the rest of it if that's your lead up.
All right, well, let's look and see what it is. Is it age that he's talking about? Is it the fact that it will be limited? What is the issue here? Because we know, I don't know. I wonder if people understand
has to do with
that.
mortgage. because they're not going to give you a mortgage if you're 50.
Right. The banks are the issue there. And the fact that
So
your earning ability, the retirement age is still 65 here, right?
Yep.
Your potential to pay this back diminishes if you are over 50. Right? If you are even 45, it gets into some dangerous territory. So that's primarily the main reason why it's that age group. Now, anybody else, I mean, again, if you have a job and you can pay it, yeah, this is not just for people in suits. I think a lot of people are thinking that's what it means when they say young professionals. Now, it is limited, yes. And so maybe he's suggesting, maybe this part here where he says, quote, why should they be penalized in the compounding of insult to injury of having to pay full price for their own lots as well as full customs duty for the construction of a home and property taxes while across the fence, their friend and neighbor is fully exempted and subsidized. So maybe he's suggesting that everybody in the young age group who can, right, in this category should be allowed, no matter where they are, to be free of the taxes and exempted and all those things. But as you said, they won't be able to get the low cost land if because of that you're going to be buying private more than likely. But the taxes, is he suggesting that happen? Where is the discrimination?
Are you saying where's the discrimination?
Where is the discrimination?
The discrimination is inside his head because, he had to say something to disagree with the government itself. But in all honesty, it's like if you feel that every new homeowner should be tax exempt for the property, by all means. But I want you to understand that this entire property situation is a scheme. Right? It's like if you add up the numbers, everybody keeps on saying, oh, it's not fair, it's not fair, it's not fair. But if you are the type of person who never wants to pay real property tax, then you don't want one of these properties. Because based solely on what the government is saying the equity of the property is and the amount of money you're going to borrow to build on the property is going to be right in the sweet spot of you need to pay real property tax.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's like this, the plan of this is not that these people get free land. It's that, okay, you got land and now you pay taxes for the rest of your life on this piece of property. And so the government still is still gonna balance out. Now you could say that's right, you could say that's wrong, right? But I feel like him as the Minister of Finance, or as a former Minister of Finance, would know that and is being disingenuous at best to not to just throw that away and say, oh, this is unfair. Some people are gonna get lucky and some people won't be lucky. Isn't that how everything in the country works?
The whole world works like that. That's how it is.
No, but I can't be
lose
concerned
out
about
on
the world.
well, no.
Let's be concerned about what he has control over.
Let's just
right?
be honest about things, right? You will lose out. You didn't act soon enough, and you lost out on a great deal.
Even
That's
if you
how it
act
works.
soon enough, it's limited. It's a limited resource, right? Because now if he wants to argue the argument that I've heard other people saying, which is if the government owns millions of acres of crown land, then distribute crown land. And it could be like a situation where the government, it goes back to the government on the death of the person, or the family can purchase it based on whatever, right? But if there's millions of acres of crown land, and there are less than 500,000 people in the country, not even Bahamians, people in the country, then why not just give all Bahamians access to land?
Yeah. And
that's the argument that could be made. But then the reason is because you want to protect the interests of real estate companies.
Yep. And we do want to know what he means by Nassau-centric. There are lots of islands with lots of land, lots of space. So, I mean, if you want to live there, you can
it has to start somewhere. And the Prime Minister, and don't get me wrong, I am no fan of Hubert Minnis. But the Prime Minister said it's starting here and they're going to move out. You start in the place with the most congestion. You don't start in Auckland. All Auckland's have is free land.
Yeah.
I could go to Auckland tomorrow and start building, but I wouldn't have a job. Ain't no job in Auckland.
All right, let's get to the messages and calls. Lots of them coming in, and you can continue to call in 323-6232, 325-4316. 325-4259. This text here. The government limits by age who can receive scholarships. The government limits who gets free meds from the NIB medical plan by age or civil servant.
The government limits.
Let me finish the text.
age.
Let me finish the text. There's also been targeted government assistance, although we all pay taxes to fund these things, we've never seen it said that these can be legally challenged. Why? that. But this person says it is discrimination because you're putting an age limit. You can't put an age limit when you're giving out public property. Who says? You don't understand this? It's public money and public property. So what if they say only white people can? Now, why would they do that? Why would they do that?
That's different. That's a different situation. That's based on race.
And they're going on about what the expletive is a young professional. Someone who's working who is not old. That's what that means, right? So it doesn't matter what profession as long as you've got the money to pay back who you need to pay back. That's all, folks, right? And again, if you're 55 and you need to pay this back, you only have, the bank is going to look at you.
10 years.
10 years. 10 years. The bank will hardly want to lend you money to buy a car. So this is what the issue is.
Imagine the interest rate on that.
My goodness, right? So as you said earlier, Stephen, you got to reform the banks, perhaps.
Right. And the thing is, here's the thing. All the stuff he's complaining about can be corrected, but the way to correct it is not to let's take things away from the little bit that people getting. Let's fix the system. The problem is, in all honesty, and this is going to sound horrible, fix the banks, fix the real estate, fix all the merchants, all right? That's where the issues lie. The issues lie in that people literally say on a daily basis, I open up a business to make money. Well, that's a problem because the government's job is to protect the people, is to do what's in the best interest of the people of the country. And you literally have entities within the country saying, my reason for existing is to exploit.
Yeah.
And not to take care of people. I don't open up a food store because people were hungry. I open it up because I want to make money. I didn't open up an electricity corporation. Well, I don't sell electricity because I care about people having light. I want to make money.
All right,
I don't do this because I want to make money. And it's like that goes literally in the face of. That's against what the government should be standing for. The government isn't here to say, "Oh, you need to make the most money off of people."
Let's take these calls quickly. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Good morning, caller.
Hello.
Hi.
Good morning.
Yes, if every one of us were to just say, take a day off, just a day, and don't say a word, or maybe 2 days, 3 days, and don't utter one word. It'll be difficult for you to do because of your job description, eh? But if you were able to do that,
I'd love it,
right,
though.
Sorry?
I would love to. But go
I
on.
know.
Mhm.
But if you were able to do it, my question to both of you is, but don't answer it yet because I want to finish. What would be the first word that you would utter out of your mouth? Consider that carefully because that defines you. I'm wondering if these gentlemen, fine gentlemen, ever sit down and decide what are we going to say to the public before we say it. Now, the former deputy, I know he's hurt, and he's going to fight back. You know, the same thing happens in our school system. Friday is the last day of school. There's going to be fights. In the House of Assembly, budget debate, time to get it on, it's going to be fights. I really wish we could get back to nature and leave all these systems alone, and we can really go further. Thanks for taking my call.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot. This text here, is this okay? This can't be the man who, when making all the decisions at finance, said no one under 30 need to apply. When was that? It's amazing the number of come to Jesus moments we've seen in the last 5 days. I actually agree with him, but I find him disingenuous to the extreme. The bank can refuse people based on age. There are grounds for that, but the government can't take our assets and say only some of y'all deserve this.
What are you talking about? That's literally, the government does it all the time. Things like food assistance and social welfare, anything. Everybody pays money to NIB at different rates, all right? But I cannot go and claim disability to NIB because they're going to be like, prove that you're disabled. I can't get maternity benefits.
Yep.
I can't get death survivor benefits if I'm alive.
You can get paternity benefits, right? And
There's
that is
tons
an
of things I can't get.
extreme
And then guess what?
discrimination there.
Even if you're unemployed and you paid the necessary amount of payments, you will be waiting for your first unemployment check so long that you will have a job. And that's policy.
Yeah.
Because it's happened to so many people that we know that it must be policy to hold on to that money as long as humanly possible so that this person finally because they keep on asking, you have a job yet? You have a job yet? And then when you have a job, they don't have to pay you. So, like, for you to say these ridiculous things like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you people do not know where you live. You're not living in the same country or the same planet or the same plane of existence as the rest of us.
Let's read some more. We got some more messages.
The thing what I want to say about age is, in the Constitution, it's baked into the Constitution that discriminating by age is okay. It's not protected that anybody's age is not protected from discrimination. Right? This is a very modern thought that, oh, you shouldn't discriminate me because I'm old. People didn't expect you to live this long. That's the sad part about it. Nobody expected you to live to be 80 because life used to be so hard, right? And then in the Constitution, you cannot be an MP until you're a certain age. You cannot be a senator until you're 31, right? So it's like, don't pretend as though, oh, this is unfair. How come these young people could do this? No young person could be a senator. Do you feel happy? Go be a senator and enjoy the perks of your age.
30s, right? You're still young in your 30s. But anyway, here we go.
No, I'm saying the people who, if I'm 25 and I'm a young professional and I get this lot, and somebody who's 45, 50 is complaining, oh, that's not fair, I couldn't get it, then become a senator, right?
What?
Because there's literally in the Constitution a place where they're saying, we don't care how smart that 25-year-old is, he will never be a senator, and so unless he is voted into the House of Assembly, he's never going to be the minister of anything, right? Yeah. And if he's whatever contribution
we got a lot of messages, a lot of good ones. This one says, Dwight, who says someone over 45 doesn't have the resources to purchase these cheaper prices without the bank? Well, then you should be doing something now. Do something with what you have now. What are you waiting for? Right? If you've got the money, do something. This doesn't make any sense. What were you doing? What were you waiting for? What were you thinking was going to happen? Do that. Anyway, let's go on. They're saying it's ageism. The mantra of Dr. Minnis, who's been pandering to young people since he started his 5-year election campaign. Discrimination is discrimination. Worldwide discrimination categories have been classified as age, sex, gender, disability. The problem in the Bahamas is they've used age to separate us for decades. Really? There should be no discussion of these old people here too long or these young people just reach. They're using it to disguise their inability to grow the economy, and we keep falling for it.
What are you talking about, sir? Because, there are things that will be separated by age no matter what.
All right, let me just read some more. We're running out of time before the news. That's the problem with many Bahamian mindsets. They don't see themselves as professionals. Many seem to be stuck in a juk mindset. And as the former Minister of Finance, he should know better. If you can afford to, you can buy it. End of story. Okay. This text here so which one now? Where are we? Nope, we read that already. This one here. In 2018, I was 54 when I transferred my mortgage from one bank to another and purchased another property valued $80,000. I qualified, so I agree with TurnQuest. It is discriminatory. Now, look, when
they transferred their mortgage,
you clearly got some money, and the bank viewed you as being a good client. You've been with them for years, I suspect, right? So that's a very different situation. That's not comparable here.
Tax should be different. They already had a mortgage. It's not like they're starting from scratch. We talk about
and the bank could take all of it. Anything. They could get the money back from you with that, right? So that's very, very, very different. You got to come on now. And this one says, the PM is trying to provide homes for Bahamians, but yet many are complaining. We are into complaining. Well, maybe. Callers, we're going to ask for you to call us back after the news, and we'll get to your what you have to say then, okay? We'll carry this over after the news. Stay with us. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.
Oh, that's what I like. Yeah, I like reggae scrape. I like Junkado. Oh, I like Gombe Punch. Oh, I like Sky Juice.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969, Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:18, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. We've got pleasant weather and gentle to moderate winds being generated by a broad area of high pressure that remains draped across the Bahamas. For all areas today, look for partly to mostly sunny, hot, and humid conditions with isolated showers or a thunderstorm becoming fair and warm with a passing shower tonight. Gusty winds and higher seas can be expected in or near showers and thunderstorms. Temperatures getting up to around 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down about 73 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. In your extended outlook, winds will continue to lighten across the area as high pressure will move over the Bahamas, but an upper-level trough will also bring increased shower activity to the extreme northwestern islands by Sunday. So for this weekend, Saturday, tomorrow, partly sunny, hot and humid with isolated showers and a thunderstorm. Fair and warm at night. Sunday, cloudy and breezy with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms in the extreme northwest Bahamas. Partly sunny, hot and sticky with isolated showers elsewhere. In the tropics are quiet. Tropical cyclone formation not expected during the next 5 days. That's your morning blend weather check brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. What's first for you comes first for us. At 8:19, we've got another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. In real-time traffic, again, Samar Butler Highway, you're a hot spot this morning. Traffic well south of Fire Trail, the Fire Trail roundabout. In the northbound lanes, heading towards Tawny Williams Darling Highway, backed up on Fire Trail as well, eastbound to that roundabout. It's going to be heading all the way up to there. Glaston Road also busy northbound to JFK Drive. Blue Hill Road, busy as well, north of Soldier Road in the northbound lanes, heading towards Independence Drive. Traffic is building westbound towards that roundabout with Blue Hill as well. Carmichael Road looking busy this morning, eastbound to Blue Hill Road, and westbound all the way heading out to Coral Harbor Road. Keep that in mind this morning. Blue Hill is going to be busy for you from well south of St. Vincent Road this morning. Elsewhere, we've got Eastern Road from east of Fox Hill, westbound, heading up to Montague. It'll ease up for you once you get to Johnson Road, though. And then pockets along Prince Charles at the major intersections. And Wolf Road, Soldier, Bernard Road, Village Road, that area is looking pretty busy this morning. Marathon Road heading towards Wolf Road in the northbound lanes. And Mackey Street as well this morning. That's what we're looking at. Those are your hot spots. It's real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, banking reimagined.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
KB and Sting, coming with the Bohemian team. Come on. Woo! Oh, yeah. Yes. Eyes of Bohemian, hair and bone and bread. I don't want to live nowhere else, even when I dead. Eyes of Bohemian, and I always late. If you want me there by 9, better tell me come 8. See, Eyes of Bohemian, and I don't like say nobody gonna spend my money when I go to my grave. Yes, Eyes of Bohemian, don't wanna make no fuss, but if you we know, but outside toilet, you we one of us. Like Andrews grabbing though, don't act like you don't know, you know. And you know, oh, how Bohemian go. How they go, how they go, how they go, don't you know?
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with Stephen Hanna on this Friday morning. We're continuing our discussion. It's been interesting so far.
I'm sure that, that's odd, that song. Like
I was just thinking about that. That line, I never really paid attention to it before about if you don't know about outside toilets, you're not one of us. Like
well, because that's both ageist and Nassau-centric if one were to really think about it. Because I'm sure there are plenty of people in Freeport who would be offended by that.
Well, I'm offended, actually.
Well, whatever. And then also, the fact it's also like a time thing, because there are people who do not know a time before we had electricity. if they lived in New Providence, but then Auckland didn't get electricity till like 98. And so it's like we're not a monolith. And so like these things don't apply across the board. So it's like, it's odd. It's odd, but whatever. True God.
Okay. All right. Let's get back to the conversation. You can call in if we missed you before the break. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. All right, so callers, call back. Let's get to the rest of these messages here. Someone says, this is one that came in very early. Let me go back to that. I agree with the former finance minister. It is discriminatory. How can you abandon your national housing initiative and engage in these service lots programs for a selected few? Remember, the first service lots initiative was only for government workers. Now this, not sure who's advising the government, but this makes no sense when we're in a housing crisis.
We are in a housing crisis.
Okay. Okay, anyway.
Are you singing a song?
I
What's
was
happening?
just reading that text. I don't know. Anyway, let me read it. Anyway, this person says, the MP for North Andros gave a good account for his tenure yesterday. How come this type of information never makes the news? Oh, my. Okay.
Who's the MP for North Andros?
See, now you're just making it worse. This one here, even the low-cost homes program, not everyone got a house. Okay. This one says here, the bottom line is it is discriminatory and the government should not engage in discrimination. It's the government's job to make everything equitable. Everything. Well, then, Stephen, goes back to what you were saying then. Maybe all the Crown land just give it up really cheap prices.
But they will not do that because it doesn't serve the interest of certain persons. So it's like if they give everybody a piece of land, all right, then there are going to be people in all of these various sectors who have a lot of money and a lot of say and a lot of power, and they're going to say that's not fair. All right? And so it's like, no matter what, somebody's going to be displeased. All right? And so it's like, I don't understand this whole, suddenly Bahamians could see discrimination in everything with something like this. And it's like, you're saying that Bahamians should not have property because specifically you don't fall into the category that it's eligible for.
Yeah. All right.
That's what it boils down to. You're saying if I can't have it, then it's not fair that they should have it. Cool.
Let's take this call. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
Dwight, how are you?
Doing well.
Okay. Good morning, Stephen. How you doing?
I'm well.
Can't hear Stephen, but anyway, good morning to the nation. Can you hear
I
me?
said I'm well.
Because your producer probably needs to turn up the volume.
We
on
can
your
hear
side.
you. We can hear you. We can hear you.
It's very, very low on my side. I
Okay.
can hardly hear you, but nonetheless. In the news, listening to the Minister of Public Service.
No, Anton, we aren't talking about that, right? So this is what we're talking about right now. So do you have anything to say about this?
But Dwight, you said you're discussing all the matters in the news.
No. We're talking about some of the matters in the news. The ones
Okay,
that
are you going to get to that part of the discussion?
Probably not. Seeing the time.
Okay. Anyway, looking at what the former Minister of Finance, the Honorable Peter Turnquest, has stated, I still find him to be far more competent, just for the record, than the current Minister of Finance, as well as the Minister of State, right? And the government is like a rudderless ship right now under the current Minister of Finance. He's absolutely correct in what he's stating. What you all are, and Stephen, to discuss the points that you were mentioning earlier as it relates to age and all this kind of stuff not being protected in the Constitution, as well as it relates to discrimination, it seems to me as though you are suggesting that because current levels of discrimination exist in an ancient and outdated Bahamas Constitution, that the Bahamas government has a right and should continue perpetuating these levels of discrimination, which is utter nonsense and utter garbage.
Okay, so
Not
if I
because
may
something is wrong in
respond
the
to what you just said, since
and
you brought me into
recognizing that
this
our
fray.
Constitution-
Okay, we can't have everybody talking.
Pardon me?
So I'm not suggesting
What do you say,
that.
Dwight?
Stephen, really quickly, go on.
I'm suggesting
I can't hear Stephen,
that the discrimination that people are claiming does not exist in the way that they think it exists. Right? And so everybody keeps on claiming ageism, and that the government cannot do certain things. And I'm just making the point that the laws that you think exist only exist on television. They do not exist in this country. It's the same thing like Bahamian saying, where's my Miranda rights, or I plead the fifth. That's not our laws. So it's like, just clarify within yourself that this thing that you think is your right is not your right.
Okay, can I finish my point, Dwight?
Yes, really quickly. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. And so, like I'm saying, our Constitution is very antiquated, right? It needs updating. There was a last Constitutional Commission that recommended 70 recommendations to upgrade our Constitution, which this government has not looked at in any way, shape, or form, okay?
Was one of them age?
Something is wrong, does it mean the government should continue perpetuating the wrong in the Constitution? Secondly, when we look at the government of the Bahamas, they're using public taxpayer money. This is not a private-public venture that the government is pursuing. This is tax dollars that the government is pursuing, and at a time when persons are losing their homes, at a time when we have the hurricane upon us, and Bahamians don't have jobs to be able to afford to repair homes or repair roofs and prepare themselves for hurricanes, or even at a time when we have Bahamians of all ages who are trying to acquire homes. The government is seeking out our taxpayer dollars and creating a special interest group for persons who clearly are at a position of advantage and doesn't need the government support to qualify for homes. I can see if the government is using its resources to benefit the majority in a much more suitable fashion, in a much more effective fashion. But the government is using our money to create or to further advance persons who are already coming from a privileged background.
I don't think that's right, Anton. That's not right. That's not right. That's not right. A lot of these people will not be able to afford most of the homes on the market today. Will not be. We are all priced out of the market. This has been a problem for many years.
No, but how does professional equate to privilege?
I don't understand. That's who they think
it's times like that when it's like, because I'm insulted as a person who does not own a piece of property in this country, and as a person who considers himself a professional, right? That it's an attack on me. So I will take it personally. Whether or not I ever get a piece of property in this country through this scheme or any other scheme, it is an attack and a spit in my face that you people have the gall and the audacity to call here and make every living thing that might be might make life slightly better for any human being on this planet or this island or this country. Y'all make it a political football just because you have, signed some unorthodox deal with Satan, or you are brain damaged or something. But it's like everything cannot be a political football. There must be some good that could happen for someone in this country without y'all saying this is not fair because the PLP is doing it, the FNM is doing it, and calling in like every single day.
Yeah. Let's get some more calls in. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
And you know what else?
I bet he
has
Stephen.
3 houses.
Well,
right?
Okay. Well, let's not make it personal.
I'm waiting for him
let's
to come
not make
back
it
in
personal.
to say that he has no house, that he's used the outside toilet.
Stephen, let's move on. We got to move on.
Like
let's not make it a personal
he isn't.
thing. Okay.
Right?
Okay, Stephen. Stephen, let's calm down now. Calm down. Let's not make it personal. No. Let's take these calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Mr. Strachan, I do respect. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing okay now.
I was in the same room, eh?
Mr. Strachan, that can killing the issue. Get Stephen up.
Okay. All right. Okay. So this is the same thing. It's the same thing. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hey, Dwight, was it you yesterday who said that we don't need MPs in cabinet? Or something that
I said
yesterday?
The cabinet should not be in the House.
Right, yeah. So I totally agree with you because where was Peter Turnquist for the last 4 years? Shouldn't he have been talking like this while he was openly discriminating against Bahamians based on their socioeconomic status? I mean, can you write a letter to Peter Turnquist and say you don't want to get taxed on this thing or that thing? But, some rich person can do that? So him now saying, well, it's discriminatory or ageist to not allow someone over 45 to acquire these property.
Does he see the light? He have freedom now.
Oh, that's what it is, eh?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you call freedom?
Listen, that ain't what I call freedom. That's what
Hey,
they call
again,
freedom.
folks, this is the system we have. If you don't like it, I keep saying it, we've got to change it. These are the constitutional amendments we need to be making, right? We want the people we elect to speak freely. We want that. We don't want them to hold their tongue. They are answerable to us, not to the prime minister. That's how it should be. Now, if we want to create a system where the cabinet works for the leader, if it's a president or a prime minister, whatever it is, right? But they answer to him, and they don't have, because we didn't put them there, they are the most qualified people in their fields, and they have the talent to be there. That's a different thing. I think we'll get some different results. I don't know if it'll be better, but it will be different from what we're getting. This system is causing us some problems, right? The House is too small. The number of people who are affiliated with the government in terms of the cabinet or appointed to boards or appointed to head committees, it is too many, and we are not getting the freedom, the expression, what we need to be said because of this. This has run its course. It did a long time ago. I need everyone to understand this. It is not going to get any better the way it is. And every time we get to this point in any administration, once people start losing their jobs, then all of a sudden the light is shining on them and they can speak.
That's their road to Damascus moment.
It's
The
insane.
scales falls from their eyes.
So 3 years of foolishness, people saying yes, 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 yes. And then all of a sudden, because we've fallen out now, I can tell you how I really feel about this garbage legislation. What?
Where was this bravery before?
But it's the system. It's the system. And it's going to continue. And we're going to be talking about the same thing. We were at this point 5 years ago. I guarantee you I can play the show. I'll do that next week. I'll play a whole show from 5 years ago. We were saying the same things. Guarantee you won't know. I'll play it from June and y'all won't know.
You should do better. Don't play it for just 5. Well,
Play
5
the whole
years ago
show.
would be during the PLP.
Yeah. You want me to go 10
Yeah.
years back? So it'll be another F&M one so you could hear how it was then. The same thing.
No, and every break switch administrations, so you notice that nothing changed.
Right. I'll edit it up. Okay, then you'll get it. Right? So what are we going to do? Well, let's put different people in there. Nope. Doesn't change anything. Doesn't change it. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Hi.
The conversation with the former deputy prime minister, what he said, I can take the land part of it because he is correct, in my opinion, based on what the Constitution says. The Constitution has provisions in it that speaks to the sale of land in the Bahamas. A lot of people don't know that. And the problem is, a lot of these members of Parliament, when they go into Parliament to make points, they are legislators. They hardly do any research, especially of the laws, to make their point. That's what the Parliament is for, to pass laws. We have an abundance of laws on our books that cover almost anything that the government tries to do. In Article 26(8), it specifically says there can be no discrimination in sale of land to the general public. It spells it right out. No discrimination.
Do you feel that this is discrimination?
I can't hear you.
Do you feel that this is discrimination?
Yes, because if you put in an age restriction on I go based on what my understanding of what the Constitution says, okay? That's why I quote the article 26(8). Anybody, you could go and read it when you get time and come back and read it on air so that the general public could hear what it says, okay?
Yeah.
Based on what the Constitution says, okay? If people could look at all covenants, conveyances in this country, you will see that certain groups of people couldn't purchase land in certain areas of the Bahamas. Okay? At one point in time. Now, when we got this 1973 Constitution, it deals specifically with sale of land and lease of land to the general public.
Okay.
Article 26.
Yeah.
8.
That's
okay.
We know that was done for a reason.
Making his point, and a lot of these persons who are making points, they need to cite the provisions, either in the Constitution or in the statute law,
Okay.
to make their point.
That's fine, but you know why that was done, right? And you know what's being done here, right? Because they don't want. But yeah, that's fine. But we don't. But people, I don't know if people understand it. No, but that's important. We don't want the 75-year-old millionaire to go and buy this land, and because right, we don't want that to happen here because that's been happening, and they're pricing all the young people out of the market. That's why this is being done. And if we open it up, you know that those people who already own all the land on this island will buy up everything. They'll buy it up and they'll sell it back at double the price. That's what's going to happen. That is what is going to happen. That's why this was being done. But apparently the people who will benefit the most from this are not understanding how this will benefit them and want everybody to be allowed to do this and watch and see what happens. These older people who can buy you and me twice will be the ones buying that land.
Already have land.
That's what's going to happen here. And that's what this was all about. But okay. All right. Anyway,
I'm trying to find this article you're talking about.
Let's take another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Stephen, Sal, and John.
Good morning.
Hi.
The caller previous to me just called for the same subject I was talking about because she's referring to 26.8a and 8b. And that's why I was going to say that the former Deputy Prime Minister and former Minister of Finance is absolutely correct also because it speaks, under that discriminatory clause with race and all of these things, it already addresses that. So it doesn't matter how we feel; it's what the law says. It's what our Constitution says. And so we can't.
That wonderful Constitution's done it well.
But let me say, the problem is not the interpretation of the. The problem is not the Constitution. It's the application that we do as a group of people. The problem is that we always bending rules on how we think, how we feel, what we pray for, what we hope for, what we wish for, what we was told, but we never have discussions on what we know or what it is. And so it's the same respect that you speak concerning governance in the country. I find it hard for anyone to enter into a debate, a reasonable debate that says that our system doesn't work. It actually works. But it calls for men and women. We just haven't had any in the House for a long time. See, the problem is we confuse being male and female with becoming men and becoming women. And so it's just like the Westminster system that we so-called model ourselves after, where they don't even have a constitution and they have honor. But we don't have those things. We have somehow bastardized the system in our mind and our practice as opposed to doing what is right for application for the benefit for the development of all the Bahamas. So, for instance, let's just point. They say the Prime Minister has ultimate power. The Prime Minister is the Chairman of the Board of Cabinet, and the only power the Prime Minister has is based on the number of emasculated men and women he could put in his cabinet. Because at any given time, 51% of them can overrule any decision that he makes, regardless of his power of appointment and disappointment. And then when you go to the House of Assembly, 51% of them could overrule cabinet. Okay, see, so the fact that we don't practice it, we don't. We need men who have testicular fortitude and women with ovarian audacity to go to the House of Assembly to represent the people of the Bahamas. But if we keep sending subjects, you know why? Because we elect brands. If you go right now to candidates for the PLB, FNM, or any political party, they know nothing about this country. But we will elect a brand. These like putting water in a Coca-Cola can, and you'll buy the can till you open it and find out there's nothing but water.
Okay.
And that's the problem we have.
All right,
delicious water. Okay, so Dwight, because I'm trying to find this thing that they're talking about, right? The only thing I find inside when they say Article 26, I'm looking at Chapter 3 of the Constitution, and it talks about discrimination, right? Because we're talking about personal rights and this and that. It literally says in this article, the expression discriminatory means affording different treatment to different persons attributable wholly or mainly to their respective descriptions by race, place of origin, political opinions, color, or creed. I'm sorry, did you add age in that? Because that's what my point is, that people are making this argument about age being a plate, that's discrimination. And by all means, if the majority of Bahamians feel that way, then go have a referendum on it. At the same time, you could also put gender in there because you notice I didn't say gender.
Okay. All right. Let's take another call, and we do want to move on.
So I'm just saying like that. Because it's one thing to read it. This is not a matter of. I'm reading what I see here. I don't see anything about age.
All right. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, guys. How are you this morning?
Doing well.
Dwight, Stephen, let me ask you a question. What checks and balance would be put in place to avoid discriminatory measures against persons of other political persuasion in being able to purchase piece of this property? Have you heard anything about the checks and balance that would be put in place for that?
We haven't as yet.
They have some sort of board or something.
I understand, but the board is appointed by this particular government. I think some of the persons on the board should have been non-political. You understand what I'm saying, Stephen?
I mean,
because,
what
you don't want
just because they're appointed by the
take
government doesn't mean they're not
only
non-political,
persons of
though.
that political persuasion will be able to purchase piece of property.
That's what
I'm thinking about.
you can confirm that. I mean, just because they're appointed by the government doesn't mean they're not
No,
non-political.
I'm asking you. I mean, as far as the persons that I saw that they say are appointed on the board, I know some of those persons personally.
Yes.
And some of them are cabinet ministers, not cabinet ministers, but persons who are in government and high position, either in the Senate or Parliament, kids. Okay. So that's why I'm saying that what checks and balance would they have in place? To
Are
make sure
they
that this
all?
measure is not just one persuaded side. That's what I'm saying to you.
Well, that's a good
other
question.
Other behaving professionals will be able to purchase piece of this property.
Sure, that's a good
Could you check
question.
into that for me, please?
Fine, but do you think all of them are of that persuasion, or all going to be like that?
With all due respect,
Well, you're the one who brought it up
can't-
now. You're the one who brought it up. Just ask it, right? So, okay, that's... And all of y'all always wearing your silly colors on your sleeves is, we'll never get anything done because everybody's everything. Well, good God, man. Right? Everybody's a this or that. So what's going to happen? What are we going to do? You got to bring in a foreign board to deal with these things? Maybe that's what we need to do.
Nothing will happen. That's
Good God.
We're going to stay in the exact same place. We will never move forward because nobody wants to relent and give up any ground to say that the party that they don't support did something right.
Oh, God. Oh, okay. Is it... One more call. Okay, good morning, caller. You're on the air. You're on the air, caller. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Hi, good morning.
Dwight. Dwight.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah,
Dwight, I see, right? Peter said he stopped the food. Hello?
Yeah. We moved on from this now.
He
But
stopped
okay.
speaking from eating that 3 piece of meat, right? Across the road, he's not the prime minister from eating that 3 piece of meat. Well, he has some power. But wonder, but if we stop Carl Bell from having each 3 piece of meat, he didn't say that. So that means that he has plenty power. The prime minister asked him, boy, where the food? I guess the prime minister's holding over power. He's so
Okay, I don't know what's happening right now. Let's take a break, and we'll be back with more Morning Blend after this. Folks, I really... Can we focus? Let's focus. Let's do that. Let's take the break and then be back. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Roaming just got easier. Say hello to more with our new Liberty Prime plan. With more minutes, more texts, and more data to do the things you love right here at home and even when you travel. With the all-new Liberty Prime, Liberty Premium, and Liberty Elite, you've got one less worry. Roam again. Alive. Believe in best.
Go cashless with CIBC First Caribbean to sign up for online banking and view online credit card statements. No need to wait for the post to arrive. Go paperless with CIBC First Caribbean. Online banking lets you access your credit card statements on the go. Visit CIBCFCIB.com to learn more today. Go cashless with CIBC First Caribbean.
There's only one way to have a better morning.
How?
Whoa! Start your mornings the best way with our 2 for $6 breakfast sandwiches at Wendy's. For a limited time, choose any 2 of your favorite breakfast sandwiches, including the fresh Strachan sack muffin, honey buttermilk chicken biscuit, double sausage muffin, or the sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit. Wash it all down with our cold brew shake or coffee. Better mornings always start at Wendy's. Wendy's, different inside and out. Excludes airport locations.
Travel less, but vacation more by indulging yourself and your family with the ultimate staycation getaway at Atlantis. Sleep in, relax, play, go out. Say yes to a fantastic staycation in your very own paradise just over the bridge. For reservations, call 363-6483 or visit Atlantis Local on Facebook for details.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAL, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
BTC is elevating the Bahamas with our super-fast fiber internet experience. More people in more places can enjoy the best home connection starting with 100 megabit speeds. With over $6.5 million invested, our network grows stronger each day, delivering the best home internet for all your needs. Call us at 242-225-5282. Visit btcbahamas.com or any retail store to upgrade to the super-fast fiber internet experience on the Bahamas' best fiber network.
RBC has been growing with the Bahamas for over 110 years with new ways to bank better. We are committed to deepening our relationship with existing clients and forging new ones in the future with new products and services and investment in the community, youth, and education initiatives. We are here to help you grow.
We're here to help you flourish. We're RBC.
RBC Royal Bank. Banking reimagined.
Stay a step ahead of technology with certainty and support from Custom Computers. Our know-how team is here to help you zero in on your next big tech purchase, finding solutions that take your productivity to the next level using only the best and most reliable brands. With 4 stores all across Nassau on East Bay, West Bay, Old Fort Bay, and Palmdale, there's no stopping you from stepping up your tech. Reach out to us at 396-1100. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
KB and Sting, coming with the Bohemian team. Come on. Woo!
This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, along with Stephen Hanna, on this Friday morning. You all, this is like the second or third week where the show before the weekend has been extremely aggressive in many ways, and make me love weekends, boy. Let me tell you. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to be talking about what companies should do when they see
more spiciness.
Yeah, when they see their employees posting unusual messages on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, photos and comments about coworkers and their boss. What should your boss do if he sees that or she sees that? We're going to be talking about that. And is this unique to millennials and Generation Z issue? We're going to be getting into that in Morning Blend Business in just a few minutes. All right, so let's bring down the temperature just a little bit. But we're still going to be talking about discrimination. Many folks are saying it's time now for the curfews to end, especially for New Providence and Grand Bahama. Are they the only 2 left? Apico doesn't have Apico has a curfew, right?
I think there's a curfew in a couple other
where the
islands
lockdowns are. Yeah, they definitely have. But I mean, for all the other islands, they are free. But it's Grand Bahama and New Providence, of course, those are the places with the highest numbers for COVID. But
I guess that means that these lockdown rules are Nassau-centric.
You're very naughty, Stephen Hanna. Okay, so let's hear what folks told our Jared Higgs.
It does stop the spread and what's not, but at the end of the day,
People want their freedom.
Government took the drastic measure, among others, to prevent the spread of COVID-19 back in March 2020. It was a controversial decision, and saying not everybody agrees with it is an understatement. Some critics say it goes too far, since it prevents a person from, say, taking a solo walk after 10 p.m. But supporters of the curfew say it's a necessary sacrifice.
There are some people that need restrictions because then when you allow them too much freedom, they just go crazy. Perfect example. You allow someone to have a party. You tell them 20 people the max. When you see them posting, how much people do you see there? So the innocent suffering for the guilty.
3 weeks ago, the Governor General issued a new emergency proclamation, giving the competent authority an additional 6 months of emergency powers. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis has routinely said that decisions on restrictions are based on advice from the medical experts. Critics say that advice from medical experts should also be weighed against the constitutional rights of individuals.
You can't keep people locked up for so long and expect them not to act out. So I'm leaning more to just ending it one time and just letting people have still some restrictions, but in the curfew.
But many say they've gotten accustomed to the curfew. And of course, there's evidence to suggest that it has put a dent in crime. But how long can individuals and businesses endure?
It's like someone like a little bit more freedom, you know? Because like, I'm pushing the curfew back. Every mess will be closed, so still probably won't be able to do nothing. So.
If I also make a difference, because I mean, people going out there. What's the difference of me getting in the house 10 o'clock or 11? No difference. And then a lot of businesses are suffering too.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
All right. So, is it time, folks? Is it time that we just learn to enforce ourselves, to govern ourselves like adults and not be reckless and crazy and have this curfew, this curfew lifted finally? Are we ready for that? Is it, how much longer can we do this? Why should we do this? What's going to happen? Let's talk
that's
about
the most important question that needs to be answered.
Mm-hmm.
The why. Because like if we could all agree on the why we're doing this, then we could say, well, is it effective? And if it is there another way to do it? If it isn't, then how do we address this? But I think the why of it needs to be handled, because I do not think that the why can rightfully be said that has anything to do with COVID anymore.
Okay. All right.
Because that's the thing. It's like literally the fact that you're not supposed to be on the road after 10 o'clock has very little to do with the fact that whether or not people can interact with people before 10 o'clock. You know, it's like I could congregate up until 10 o'clock, but at 10 o'clock, it's illegal. So it's like you're not getting to the root of the problem. You're still addressing a symptom that you think that, well, clubs will be open after 10.
And especially with people now fully vaccinated, how much longer can we continue to do this? Why? What is
beyond? But I'm saying even beyond that, you're still not addressing. Pretend there was no vaccination. We're still not addressing what you claim to be the root issue, and the root issue is they don't want people to congregate. Well, you're not doing any. That's not being addressed as it is, because during the daytime people are congregating. Yeah, and then it's like you literally saying, if you have a 9 to 5, you have 5 hours to do anything else, to go see your mother, to go shop, to get food before you go home, to get off the road. You have 5 hours. Yep. And that's not taking into account traffic.
All right, let's hear what callers have to say, and text messengers, you can text as well, 422-4796, tweet us, Facebook us as well. All right, caller, good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
And good morning, Stephen Anna.
I am, well,
hey, listen, I enjoy the show so much, man. It's the best morning show Friday I have ever enjoyed. I enjoy Stephen Anna and Anton camaraderie. And one thing Stephen Anna asked Anton, do you have a house? I want Anton to call back and answer that.
Oh, no,
I almost thought you had to call a fire truck. But Stephen Anna, that had me so cracking up. So I want Anton and Dave to answer those questions.
No, you don't.
Stephen Anna, go ahead, right? You say it?
No, please don't call them to call in.
But the man, you did have one like this, man. Let him call back and answer Stephen's question, though.
No.
Don't have a good day, one and only, original, funky.
Beetlejuice. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah.
If they do call back, I'm going to ask them how they got it.
That's,
I just want them to know, in case they're
please,
thinking of calling back.
Please stop. Please, for God's sake.
Be prepared to answer all the questions.
That's not good. That's not good. As the phone lines light up. Oh, dear. Pray for us. 323-6232. We're talking about the curfew, folks. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. It's scary that people in that report were saying they've gotten used to it. I've heard that from a lot of people as well. And people, of course, were thinking, many people, we've heard that before, last year, like, well, I'm never out of the house after 10 anyway, so this won't affect me. That's okay. That's very selfish. Again, with a lot of people who had their jobs, their lives, they were living.
DJs,
this was
DJs
their
and
time to
singers
thrive.
And musicians.
This is when they saw their friends, and this is the time when they felt good about themselves. And this has really changed things for many people.
And here's the thing, Dwight. I think people always underrate that stuff, and they think, oh, well, that's because these people like to party or whatever. But they don't realize that human beings are social creatures, and if you don't socialize, you're going to go mad.
Yeah.
It is actually a health risk to have people inside their house by themselves all day, or in their apartment by themselves all
or
day.
even with their family all day. Yes, they'll go mad.
Or even with this, their family and no reprieve.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, these are health risks. If you're talking about crime being down temporarily, didn't they say murder and armed robbery is up?
Yes.
Right. There's a reason for that. It's like you can't just have this pressure building up, and don't have a release valve. You got to have, people won't be socialized if they aren't allowed to socialize.
All right, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Good morning, caller. You are on Morning Blend.
Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Man, let's talk about the positive things, man. I'm so happy that all these years, people now who are on contract or whatever, working for government part-time, now they are full-time. That's very good.
Is that a positive? Some of these people probably shouldn't have been.
Huh?
But I don't know if that is necessarily positive. I mean, it's great they have jobs, but some of these people
you can
probably
imagine
aren't there
doing the
for
job
good reasons.
10, 15 years, can't go to the bank.
Okay. All right.
And now, that's something positive we need to rejoice. You know?
Okay. Yep.
Thanks, man.
Good for them.
Okay.
Excellent. But as the minister was saying, some of this generally, let's read the quote. Some people, some of them, not all, some of them should have been there, but some were generally brought on, like some people say, in a political season. That doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound good at all.
Here's the thing, right? Unless we are willing to change, once again, the entire structure, it's always going to seem like this, right? If you don't like Steven, anybody that Steven hires, you're going to be suspect of, right? So there must be a new system in which people can be hired for the job.
Let's
so
not
that
start
even
that new conversation, though. But
no, I'm just saying, because people are saying, oh, can you trust these people who the prime minister that I'm hiring to pick out the line or whatever, or pick who gets the line? And it's like, as long as the system is set up the way it is, then you will always have your suspicions.
Yeah, let's take this final call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well.
Steven.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good. Listen, I agree with that last caller. We have a lot to rejoice for, Dwight, so I would like for you and Stephen to just bear with me for 30 seconds, okay?
Okay.
Rejoice, 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 rejoice. Emmanuel can count for me, O Israel.
Wow.
Thanks for taking my song,
Okay,
okay?
well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. That's a nice way to end the show, I guess. To end that part of the show, as we said, we're going to come back with Morning Blend Business and talking about what your workplace, how your workplace should handle your private social media. Should they be paying attention to it? And what should they do if you start posting about your coworkers and your boss? What should happen? Let me read these messages as we get ready to go to the break. This person says, Dwight, been out for the first time in a long time last night. To answer your question, no, we're not ready to be responsible adults, but I think it is time that the curfew is done away with. Okay. Wow, I wonder what happened last night. This one says, I totally agree with Stephen. People gather in crowds prior to 10. I guess COVID comes out after curfew. We're still saying that, eh? All right. This one says, the biggest why for me is why don't we have free testing so that we can quarantine those who are infected and allow healthy people to go on with their lives? Okay, and this one says the curfew also impacts more than social matters. It is a deterrent to economic activity. The fact that we are in dire economic straits ought to have our leaders thinking broadly about rejuvenating the economy, and time definitely has an impact on this matter. Okay, yeah. Well, we need people to be talking more about it because it looks like this is, my goodness, more than a year of this now, and now you really have to wonder, right? Okay, we're going to be back after the break. Stay with us. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end
This
of
is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Friday, June 11th, 2021. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan, joined by Stephen Hanna on this Friday. We are today talking about social media and the workplace, and what say should your workplace have in what you post out there on your private social media. And we are posing this mainly to millennials and Gen Zers, but this might apply to other age groups as well. This morning, we are very pleased to have some special guests who are going to be guiding us through this discussion, and we are very pleased to welcome on Zoom, we've got Duquesa Dean with DDO GC Consultant Group. Is that right, Duquesa?
Good morning.
Yes.
Consultant Solutions.
Consultant Solutions. Okay, great. Thank you. Great to have you with us as always. And we have CEO of Astute Talent Management and Vice President of Programs for the Bahamas Society of Human Resources Management, Ahmad Rashad Thompson. Great to have you in studio.
Good morning, Dwight. Thank you so much. It's great to be here, man.
All right, so we're going to have a great conversation this morning. And I'm sure you all are aware, people are posting a lot about every single thing that they do every minute of the day, it seems, on social media, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or TikTok now. And some of it eyebrow raising, and people are often talking about their jobs and what they do and who they work with and how much they don't like these people and how much this boss or the supervisor just annoyed me and how even I wish I could quit this job type thing. People see it, coworkers see it, bosses see it. Should they say, well, that's free speech, that's your social media, that's your private life, that's that. As long as you're working, you're performing, that's fine. Or do they really need to say, wait, you need to ease up or go somewhere else? Who wants to start off for us? Duquesa?
Okay, I'll start it off. Good morning again, everyone. From my perspective, I really believe that it has a lot to do with corporate policy, but also a lot to do with personal branding and the organization's branding as well. As employees, we are always representing our organizations, whether we're at work or not. And so it really depends on what those policies are. There are some organizations that are more liberal, that have much more freedoms and a lot more creatives. And in those environments, you find that there's a lot of leeway for self-expression, or for them to just be themselves. And then there are more structured and traditional environments where a lot of rules and regulations and policies apply. So I would say for the young people or anyone in general using their social media account, there are some considerations to just have in mind. One is that what you put out there, you can't take back, and your personal brand is always impacted. We elevate through our career based on our personal brand. Our personal brand speaks about our values. It speaks about who we are as people, the characteristic traits. And depending on what your career goals are and the trajectory that you may have in mind for your own career, it's important to pay attention to what messages you're sending out there. Dwight, the reality is people watch us and they come to their conclusions about who we are based on what we do and not what we say. Because in the communication model, 55% of the way that we communicate is through body language.
Yep.
And so we're showing people through these pictures, through these images that we paint with words on our social media platforms, who we really are. And it can hurt us if we put things that, or we show characteristic traits that don't align with the organization or potential organizations that we want to work for in the future.
Yep. Ahmad, what do you say?
Jakarta, you mentioned a lot of really important things. And I think the first thing I want to mention is that we've heard as we grew up that we shouldn't judge a book by its cover, right? And that's true in a lot of ways. But the cover that you present to me, you allowed me to judge. And so it's very important that you as an individual, whether you are a millennial, a Gen Zer, someone that's been in the work field for as long as you could imagine, what you put out there, you give me the authority and the right to have an opinion on. And so you can't get upset with an employer, or you can't get upset with an individual who has an opinion on what you've given to the world, right? You've taken your social media, which is indeed yours. It is your responsibility, your right to use that as you please. But the imagery you put out there, the thoughts you share, the words you speak have value. They have weight. And sometimes there are benefits to those words, and sometimes there are consequences to those words. And I think a lot of people feel like because it's mine, I can do what I please. You are absolutely right. But at the end of that, there is a consequence or there is a result. And it's very important that people understand that they have to take personal responsibility for the actions that they employ, for the things that they say, for the things that they do. As an HR professional, as a talent management consultant, I find it interesting when employees come or clients come and they say, well, what I post on my social media is my business and what I say is my business, but you're coming to work for my business. And if your values and ideals don't necessarily match mine, why would I hire you? If you present something that's completely contrasting to what my company believes and what a company stands for, then that company also has a right to essentially judge you for what it is that you say or have an opinion on. And it goes back to what DeQuesta said about personal branding. What you put out there, you can never, ever take back. You can delete the post, you can delete the tweet, but at the end of the day, somebody screenshot it, somebody made a TikTok video from it, they remember what you said. Your social footprint is no longer something you can remove as easily as you would 10 years ago. And so when people take that stance, oh, I can do what I want, you absolutely can. I just remind you that there are consequences for when you do whatever you want.
Your employer absolutely can do whatever they want.
Indeed,
as well.
because there's an employer's prerogative, and people forget that. Employers have the right to do what they need to do to protect the imagery or the brand of their company. And when we decide to do things that are in contrast to that or go contrary to that, there are consequences. So I'll leave it there for a minute.
Yeah. Stephen, I hear you groaning and moaning.
I just said, in the background.
Are you the choir? Are you?
My position towards it is somewhere in the middle. I do feel like, so personally, I used to post, I still post a lot of stuff, all right, online. And when I first started posting things, or at least heavily, and a lot of these things were, they were heavily critical of the then PLP government, all right? There was one of my friends messaged me and say, you need to take off of your Facebook page that you work for the company before the company says something. And so it's like, so that's my general position, where it's like, well, if nobody knows that I work for you, then it really shouldn't impact my behavior online shouldn't impact you. All right. And so, but now, of course, if you're like front facing, or if I'm the VP of finance for the company, then of course, pictures of me ball naked running up and down Bay Street is going to be a problem. But if I'm just a random person, people don't even know that I work for this company.
Well, I mean, that's interesting. Well, I mean, if we lived in a country
I know Miss Dean mentions that, okay, this is your brand or whatever. And that's true. But some persons don't mind that their personal brand is that thing, right? It's the same way where there are people out there who think that based on my videos that I'm a devout socialist atheist who doesn't believe in the government. I'm an anarchist and blah, blah, blah. And that some people think I'm a PLP, some people think I'm an F&M. Out of all those things, the only thing that's true is that I'm socialist, right? So it's like, but at the end of the day, it's like, that doesn't impact my brand as much as me telling people that I used to work at 9 to 5 and that I was a senior producer or something. Like, that impacted my brand more so than anything else. But that's a personal issue.
Interesting that you mentioned there about the size, though. The size of this country, does that make a difference? I mean, it's one thing if we lived in a place with millions of people, but we are so small, everyone knows that who's this guy, and that people can say, oh, he works at whatever.
I think... Go ahead, Stephen,
I think it also goes a little bit further. Ahmad said something very vital in that we just have to be prepared to deal with the consequences of our actions. So whatever we decide to do for a personal choice, we must understand that there are consequences attached to that. I mean, in today's world, a lot of the HR agencies, a lot of the HR professionals are now searching your social media handles. They're asking, when you fill out your applications, for you to provide your social media handles. And it's very simple to go into Facebook and type your handle, and everything that you have typed or shared on Facebook that's public can come up. And then we also have to remember that, like Dwight's point, that we're so small, even though you may say my social media accounts are private, there are so many connections in this little country that we live in. Do you know so-and-so? Or they can look and see that this person is a friend or commented on your social media platform, and they can get access to what you've posted through your friend. It's not as simple as I'm just voicing my opinion.
I hear you on that point. And I don't disagree. You're correct, but I wouldn't want to work for that company. Like, but that's me, because if a company is going to be like, I'm going to ask a side friend to screenshot what this person said personally to only their friend group so that we could see what they said, it's like, oh, this company is overbearing.
So
like that's Stephen, a red flag for me on the company's part. But I mean, you're correct though.
Ahmad?
If I can interject here, what I think the question is indicating is that I don't need to ask you, a friend of mine, to check a post that I saw. The way that social media is designed today, if I am a mere connection of somebody that once saw your post, I can access that post through that person that I'm connected to without ever having reached out to that person personally and say, hey, Dwight, do you know Stephen? Tell me about his work ethic. I can go on, if I pull up your name and I see that Dwight is a mutual friend of ours, I can go on Dwight's page and potentially see a post that you posted 7 years ago that Dwight reacted to or commented on. I was like, what? And I have access to that information. It's not just your opinion. It now becomes public information. And when I
think it's also true, though, Ahmad, that when we're doing background searches on potential employees and we're really interested in vetting a candidate, those relationships that we have in our networking families, they also count.
They do.
So, for instance, if you're going to take out a loan at a bank, the bank may want to know what your credit history is. And while we may not have a proper credit bureau, there are relationships within the banks that they can, use to determine what your credit history has been and make a decision about whether they want to extend credit to you or not. the U.S. Embassy, I'm so sorry to call names, like they're now asking for your social media handles, and they're
Indeed.
checking social media content as it relates to their decision on what levels of approvals they grant to you. So the world is shifting, and people are wanting to know more about the characteristics and values of
Correct.
potential employees.
And that's the key word there, DeQuesta. It's the values. It's what you represent in your personal brand. If your personal brand subscribes to something that's completely contrasting to what an organization's brand is, they will not likely select you. Because if you don't believe in it personally, you may not be able to actually deliver the things that this company considers important for their brand to succeed. If you are doing things in your personal life, and again, everything that I do personally, I do not post socially, right? And so my employer may come across something one day that they physically see me doing, which I doubt because I do things that I think are responsible, and I'm not judging anybody that doesn't or that does what they think is responsible. But at the end of the day, the bottom line I believe here is that what you post, you can't get back. The things that you say online, you cannot take away. There is a digital stamp that will remain, and these things do have consequences. I worked somewhere once where an employee took a picture, posted that picture online. That individual that they posted, 100% was against what they posted. Contacted the company, sued the company. The employee in turn got sued and was fired. Right? That's an extreme case, right? It's not going to be typically the thing that happens, because most of these things that happen are persons just posting their view on a particular thing or just something maybe a little bit vulgar or a little bit crass. But at the end of the day, these things have consequences. And one point I want to mention too, we are in a diverse world now. Things have 100% changed. Two of your guests are away from you, right? One time ago, they had to be in the studio, and they must have a mic in front of them. The world has changed, and as we change, so do policies and perceptions and corporations' beliefs and what they're going to stand for. And it's important that as people become more and more aware of and appreciate more of diversity, they understand that even with diversity, there are consequences. We are celebrating each other's differences, but you must understand that there's a responsibility you must take to act sensibly when it comes to certain things in your life, especially when it relates to your career or what you want to see happen in your specific employment life.
So I have a question, right? And then because I don't know all the terminology, and my employment contract is in a different room. So I can't really put my hands on it, all right? My question is, all right, I know like inside America, they have this thing called a morality clause, all right? Is that what we're concerned about in this situation where somewhere in the employment terms, the contract terms, it says, you know, if you do something that puts the company in disrepute, this may be grounds for dismissal. Is that what we're concerned about? Because other than that, I know that, and at the risk of sounding like a random talk show caller, we have freedom of conscience, we have freedom of expression. There's little that you could do as long as it's not an actual criminal act that, like, I think that we would all 100% across the board agree is reprehensible. So is it like a morality clause in a particular, or are we just talking about people before they get hired?
So I think,
and not people who are already hired.
No, I think there's two answers to that question, Stephen. The first answer is that some companies have a social media policy, and that policy will clearly outline what is acceptable and what is unacceptable, what they consider an acceptable post on your own social media handle, what they consider a post that is acceptable for you to include them in, right? Say, for instance, you tag your employer, like, okay, we're having National Heart Association Day at so-and-so organization. That may be something that the company sees as acceptable. Or they may decide you can't use our name in your social media post. That could be specifically identified in a social media policy. That policy governs me as an employee posting on social media as an employee under this organization. On the flip side, there are many, I believe every single employer right now is using social media as a source of recruitment, whether it's through just posting it out on Facebook, whether it's through actually having you apply through LinkedIn, having you apply on Facebook. Like, my clients source their jobs on Facebook. My clients source their jobs through LinkedIn. And so when you hit the button that says apply, you've also given me the right and the authority to go and visit the profile you applied through. And so if I visit your profile, your resume says all the lovely things it should, but your physical profile says all the nasty things it shouldn't, then you've left me to make a decision. Do I want to see the fake person you presented on a resume, or do I want to see the real person you post on Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever else? And so I think those two things kind of answer in part your question. As an employer, there is a right to, or an opportunity rather, to source through social media. And then also, if there's a social media policy specifically indicating what is acceptable and what is acceptable, then I'm governed by that policy as an employee.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, and I understand that if I agree to something, I agree to something. So that gives you grounds for whatever, right? And also, first off, I would never suggest that any employee ever posts anything like for free for a company, right? Like if a company is doing something and it's like, oh, we want you guys to promote on your personal page that we're having Heart Month and we're wearing T-shirts today. Unless you reflect that on my paycheck.
What?
I suggest
okay, Stephen, I think you're getting. Well, yeah, that's keep that one.
I know, and the reason I suggest against it is because of what he's saying. Now that I'm associated with you, I'm a spokesperson for you, so everything I do reflects on the company. So now I have an additional responsibility that I didn't sign up for. So it's like if my drunk cousin signs into my Facebook and posts something on my page, that reflects poorly on the company. So they're gonna be like, Stephen worked for this person.
Well,
but anyway.
Yeah, that's an extreme.
My question is, that's not.
Well, let's take the break, though. Let's take the break. When we come back, we want to talk about when
can I ask you
No. We got to take the break. We got to take the break. And when we come back, we'll get into that and also about when it is about the company, when it is about the coworkers, what HR people, what you say about that. Do you frown on that? Is that grounds for dismissal? We'll get into that. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Make me scream. You just talk too much.
This traffic report is brought to you by Shield Insurance and Prudential Loss Adjusters.
Well, a look at traffic this morning in the Southwest Gateway, still problematic. Still with lengthy traffic lines leaving Gladstone Road to Malabala Highway and Carmichael Road. So if you're already past those exits getting into the city, then good for you. Those of you that are still stuck behind those lines at this hour, well, how unfortunate, but you will in time. It's just a slow ride out due to the amount of traffic out here right now. At this hour, other routes have been slowed down due to the last-minute morning rush going on. One's clear up Carmichael Road, getting over the hill at Blue Hill into that intersection there at Tony's $1 million roundabout. Well, it's just getting past there, and the ride along Blue Hill Road from there is not bad at all. On the East Street side, you've got the north lanes heading into the Independence roundabout that are bumper to bumper, but they are managing to get through. Regular 9 a.m. morning thing that's happening on Prince Charles Drive, getting into Marathon Road and Soldier Road into that Wolf Road intersection. Everyone in line over there, but it won't last much longer. Just have patience. Toe the line. Wolf Road gradually slowing down, but it's still a manageable ride. Traffic moving pretty good over there. The ride coming in from out west got heavy traffic from West Bend into the Saunders Beach roundabout. That's your bumper-to-bumper flow there. But once clear of that roundabout, then the ride frees up a bit heading into the city. From the east end of New Providence, you got the Eastern Road traffic still locked in a slow ride trying to get out of there. And at this point, we don't have any congestion and delays that we are aware of that's going to affect your ride adversely getting across the island. This National Traffic Report of this hour being brought to you by the folks over Garden of Eden in Eastwood, where you get delicious Bahamian breakfast and lunch. Remember this number, 819-5574. That's 819-5574. Because every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning from 7:30, you can enjoy the best boiling stew on the island. Delicious Bahamian breakfast served with grits or Johnny cake. Call 819-5574. That's 819-5574 for easy pickup directions. With your Rhino Sky look at traffic in real time, I'm the AFF.
Hello, sir. Your credit card bill is due. Hello, sir. It's time for your monthly loan payment. Tired of creditors pounding at your door? Sign up for a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank and consolidate your debt into one low monthly payment. What's more, you will also earn interest on a built-in savings account. The pandemic has curbed many freedoms, but at Fidelity, our focus is to help regain your financial freedom. Visit a branch or speak to Fidelity Bank at 356-7764. COVID safety measures in place at all branches. Fidelity, we're good for you.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAL, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
No bank on your island? Cash and Go mobile wallet now offers bank transfers. You can still transfer funds directly to any bank account using the Cash and Go app. Simply press the transfer funds to account option in the menu and enter the account details.
You can do it at Cash and Go. Pay all your bills at Cash and Go. Send your money from Cash and Go. Top up your minutes. Cash and Go. Pay insurance at Cash and Go. 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's at Cash and Go.
It's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. The Bahamas cannot continue as a non-taxing jurisdiction and must use the imminent global tax structure changes to attract business to the Bahamas. That's according to former Minister of Finance Peter Turnquest, making his contribution to the budget debate yesterday. Turnquest says there is no reason for the Bahamas' financial services sector to be immediately fearful of the global minimum tax initiative proposed by the G7 group of nations. He contended, though, that the days of the so-called tax haven are coming to an end. He said that he believes, again, no reason for there to be alarm, but make no mistake that no matter how the final agreement ends up, it will likely have some impact on the country and our international taxing obligations, if not domestic. You can read more about his comments in today's Guardian Business section. The Inter-American Development Bank has estimated that the Bahamas has sustained around $7.7 billion in economic losses over the past decade due to devastating hurricanes. In a new publication entitled International Good Practices and Lessons in Post-Disaster Reconstruction in the Bahamas, IDB Country Representative Daniela Carrera Marquis saying the trend is expected to continue. She says in the last decade, the island nation saw eight significant hurricanes, with the after effects still lingering from Matthew in 2016, Irma in 2017, and most notably Category 5 Hurricane Dorian in 2019. She says it's estimated that the country sustained $7.7 billion in economic losses during the time, with tens of thousands of its population directly affected by these extreme weather events. The publication followed a workshop held last year with the Disaster Reconstruction Authority and representatives from countries around the world which have similarly experienced devastating shocks to their economies from natural disasters. And this summer, Bahamas Air will be back to an operating capacity at 65% of what it was before COVID-19 affected the country. That's according to the airline's chief executive officer, Tracy Cooper, who added that cruise ship home porting has blessed Bahamas Air with business. Cooper explaining that Bahamas Air this Saturday will begin its annual summer schedule, which was abandoned last year, and will increase flights to all hubs it flies to in Florida. Overseas, American consumers absorbing another surge in prices in May, a 0.6% increase over April and 5% over the past year, the biggest 12-month inflation spike since 2008. The May rise in consumer prices that the Department of Labor reported Thursday reflected a range of goods and services now in growing demand as people increasingly shop, travel, dine out, and attend entertainment events in a rapidly reopening economy. The increased consumer appetite is bumping those prices up, and against a shortage of components from lumber and steel to chemicals and semiconductors that supply such key products as autos and computer equipment, all of which has forced up prices. And as consumers increasingly venture away from home, demand has spread from manufactured goods to services, airline fares, along with restaurant meals and hotel prices, raising inflation in those areas too. In your market watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Thursday, your market movers, APD Limited moving 115, closing unchanged at 39.95. Commonwealth Brewery moving 1,000, down 2 cents to 4.25. Doctors Hospital moving 1,500, up 15 cents to 7.50. Consolidated Water up 1 cent to 2.53. Emira Incorporated up 5 cents to 11.57. The Basic All Share Index closing at 1,970.51, up 0.45. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, along with Stephen Hanna. We are talking with Duquesa Dean and Ahmad Rashad Thompson this morning, talking about your social media and your workplace. How much say should your workplace have about what you post online? All right, so we've been talking about what people post in terms of external views, it seems. But when you start posting about your actual workplace, like this co-worker next to me with this smelly tuna, and I hate coming to see this man every day, whatever, and this supervisor really wants me to tell him about his whatever. When your bosses see that, what should they do? Should it be something that you have to answer to? I'm just expressing my views. If I don't put it down to my Twitterverse, my fans out there, I will explode in this office. Or is it a problem?
So listen, I think that the employee always has a right to express him or herself. I think that the boss should act in accordance with whatever policies are in place at an organization. Somebody just sent me a WhatsApp and they said that I feel some of these companies are going too far. Not necessarily in the Bahamas just yet, but some companies are taking it, to this person's opinion, too far. It's just like, I can still be a person.
Right.
Yes, I work for you, but I'm still who I am. And I think that when we take it to the point of discussing work matters on an individual's personal social media platform, that does get a little bit tricky because it's the same thing as confidentiality.
Yeah.
As an HR professional, I shouldn't be able to go on my social media and talk about the employee I had to either reprimand or celebrate today. It's the same way the employee shouldn't feel comfortable or shouldn't be allowed maybe to post the feeling about the boss or the coworker or whatever happened at work today. We run the risk of breaching the contracts that we signed. And yes, you are an individual. Yes, you're your own person. Yes, that's your social media, but you are governed by the policy that you willingly signed when you came on to this company's this company's employee. And so I think the line can be very thin, but the boss shouldn't do what is outside of accordance with the company's policies, and neither should the employee.
Yeah. Duquesa, I can tweet that this meeting was boring.
I'm gonna, take this from a different perspective, Dwight, because I think it was Jim Drucker who said that culture will beat strategy any day, and I just think that more organizations can place focus on building the culture of their work environments. As a corporate trainer and as a small business consultant, I believe that we don't pay enough attention to the backdoor approaches that we can use to help form employee beliefs and also help to not control, but help them to think twice about the behavior that they do outside of the company. How do we get employees to buy into our organization, to buy into our values? How do we get employees to see that, when you do something that's damaging to the organization, you're actually damaging your own self, because if it adversely impacts the organization, that's a loss of reputation, a loss of revenue. It could eventually end up being a loss of a job, which could very well be your job. So I believe that more organizations should pay attention to building culture, building employee relationships. It's not something that I would say you would go out and directly say, hey, I'm your boss and I saw you post XYZ about me on Facebook. No, there are backdoor approaches. Have your weekly huddles as an organization. Talk about your values. Talk about your beliefs. Talk about why employee relationships are important. Foster team building exercises to build relationships between employees. Have generational exercises, because that's something else. The generations are different. They see things differently, they act differently, but how do we bridge the gap? We have to take responsibility as business owners in helping our employees understand how their actions can help us or hurt us.
That's a valid point, DeQuesta, and I think it goes a little bit further too than getting people. It's more than awareness; it's actually living the values. A lot of employees feel the way their companies treat them, right? And so, if my company does not outright live the value they say they want to see displayed by me, then why would I, as an employee, naturally do that, right? The same conversation I had earlier about companies looking to see if the individual's values match theirs. The individual also wants to see that the values that you hold true are actually things that you live and breathe in your organization. And so to DeQuesta's point about building the culture shouldn't just be something you have plastered on your bulletin boards. It should be something that people can actually feel. And if we talk about things like this that happen regularly or irregularly in our meetings, in our huddles, in our general meetings with our staff members, people become more aware and sensitized to, oh, now I understand why this is an issue. It's not the fact that it's not questioning your ability to do it, it's what you decide to do with your ability. It's how that affects the organization, how it affects you professionally and individually, and how it affects us collectively. Those things absolutely matter. And when we decide as an individual that what I believe and what I hold true is more important than the collective, which is sometimes the case, I go back to my original point, there are consequences. And as we build culture, as we share culture, we have to actually live culture and not just make it sound good on a piece of paper, because the employee won't believe it and they're going to be left to their own devices and maybe do what they want to do anyway.
It's not that they don't believe it, they don't see it.
Correct. And I could only live what I see. If you say it all the time, or you have it plastered somewhere, you send me an email every day reminding me about it, but nobody does it, nobody actually lives this out, then what's the point of this?
See, y'all are here, one, giving me flashbacks, and two, I so want to talk about what you guys talk about, but I feel like we're going to get completely off topic and not talk about social media, because there are persons, managers and supervisors who will say the words that you're saying, but just like you guys are saying, they're not living it, right? They walk around and they say, we're family, we're family, we're family, and then turn around and tell you, no, you can't have that day off because you need to go deal with affairs because your mother died. You need to pick a day. It's like, or it's the summer, it's our busy season, so you can't have this time off. And so it's like, it's a lot of things that happen in the company that, like, I feel need to be addressed, but I don't want to.
Yes,
but you guys are preaching to the choir.
You're straying there a little bit.
I agree with everything you guys have said.
All right,
but my question, I think Dwight touched on it before the break, was if a person does something online, they already work for the company, they post something online, it's their own personal to do or whatever, should they be concerned whether or not they are in a position of being a spokesperson for the company? Is that an issue, or where's the stance on that?
I don't think it's as black and white as that. It really depends on what is being posted, and it depends on the impact that it will have on the organization.
It's nothing illegal.
That doesn't mean it's wrong. It's right.
It doesn't have to be illegal. If it's a comment, or if it's something spewed on social media that directly hits the organization and it's one-sided, it's only the employee's perspective, because quite honestly, there are policies, procedures, there are reasons that the business operates the way that it does, and every employee doesn't know, right? There are reasons why things happen. And so you may not have the reason or the why behind the what, but it could be a very valid decision. But if you go out on social media and you lambast your company or lambaste your company, and it has a reputational impact.
Oh no, I don't mean like if you're attacking the company, because I mean, like you guys said, there's the whole, because I know the thing that I signed, there's this clause about not talking about what the company does, and like these are reasons for dismissal and all sorts of extra little loopholes and stuff where it's like you most likely are in breach of some agreement if you go online and start talking about your company right? And so I'm not talking about that. I mean, like you are you wilding out online. You
Your personal
doing
life. Your personal life.
All the every woman who is a doctor under the age of 35, you take your pictures in your bikini on a boat on a Sunday, and somebody's like, "This is inappropriate."
I just
Right?
think it has to be, you have to ask the question, how will this impact me? How will this impact my brand, right? For your example, let's just say you have a doctor who's out there, they're having fun, they're having a great time, they're in their bikini.
They ain't
There's
hurting
nothing
nobody.
wrong with that. If they're
Right,
out
to
there
me and you.
right? And if they're out there and, they have this bottle of Absolute or whatever kind of rum up to their head, carrying on bad, that brings a question to mind. And everyone may not have that question. So it just depends on, you can't control everyone's thoughts. You can't control everyone's values.
But you can't
But
control
at the
your
end of the
actions.
day, if I have a choice between a doctor who represents a certain brand that is upright, that demonstrates pure ethical behavior towards their values and their promises that they make as a doctor, and in comparison, I have a wild and out doctor who is out there with the rum bottle up to their head, twerking, carrying on bad. Honestly, it's. I will ask a question: do I want my life in the hands of this person? Correct. Are they going to be? Are they going to be sober at work?
Correct.
Are they going to be? It brings up a lot of questions.
Yeah, I'd rather my doctor drink on the beach than in the theater. But
Again, personal.
right, it is personal preference. I'm just saying, like, is there legal grounds for this, or like for them to say, hey, for you to get called in by your superiors because you're doing this thing that, and it's not that other people aren't doing it, it's that other people are not seen doing it.
Correct. So, I'm not a lawyer, Stephen. I'm not, so I won't even pretend to assert law here, but because you said it's legal. I believe it goes back to policy. What is written in the policy of an organization that I work for? What am I governed by as an employee if they have a social media policy specifically? To your point about the individual, the doctor, having a good time on their day off, on their boat or on a boat, enjoying a beverage. The picture that you paint is the picture that you painted. I am not at fault. The organization should not be at fault for the picture you painted. What DeQuesta, I think, is pointing out here is that the reputational risk associated with that post, whether you are a private practitioner or a person that represents a medical firm, is that the organization may not want to have their employees representing this organization, because whether you physically said, I work for so-and-so hospital, doesn't matter. The fact is, everybody knows you work for so-and-so hospital. Your picture is plastered on their bulletin board when you walk inside, employee of the month. But the same lady or gentleman was on their Facebook carrying on extremely questionable, and that questionable could be relative as well, because what you consider heinous, I could consider very, very regular. But at the same time, I think what it all boils down to, Stephen, is that it's based on your personal brand. It's what you put out there that you cannot take back, and it is, under your question about legality, if the company has a policy in place and you breach that policy, they have the right to enforce that policy.
I think that if you were a politician and you did that, Stephen, people would go crazy, right? So even though they were on,
Dwight,
it was the
Dwight, I have
weekend
abstained from bringing in actual examples of everything that I've spoken about today.
That's
right.
good.
About because Dwight, you are on social media as well. You know the politicians that are on Twitter. I know the politicians that are on Facebook. And I know the things that they say that people would be like, oh, I find this questionable. Their ideologies don't match with mine. How could they be in charge of this?
Yeah. Wow.
That happens all the time. And we just, at the beginning of this show, said that's irresponsible. That is that's unconscionable. It's unchristian to be like, because I disagree with somebody.
Okay, we're running out of time. We got a lot of messages coming in. People have some great examples and calls coming in too. But I want to ask this. We've seen this over the past couple of weeks. This got a lot of commentary, right? People posting about wanting to quit their jobs. If you, as HR professionals, see something like that, do you just like, oh, these young people, or do you say, well, we got a problem here? So if you want to go, just go. Why are you posting about wanting to quit? How do you react to that? What do you say?
You know, for me, as an HR professional, but also as a talent management consultant, I always I try to understand why, right? Because this person could have an actual problem at work that we need to get to the bottom of. They may have expressed the view of several employees in that one post, or it could be they had a really, really bad day and they weren't thinking about what they posted at the end of their shift. For me, it's a matter of having a conversation and saying, hey, Dwight, I saw your post, right? It came across my Facebook feed yesterday. Is everything okay? Is all well? What happened yesterday that you feel warranted a type of posting? If I didn't see the post myself, I don't think that I have the right to go and approach that employee. What I can do as an organization or as a consultant is say, you know what, this seems to be a theme or a concern of your employees. How about we have a session, a training, to the question's point earlier, a team building session where we can talk about this issue without singling out Dwight for having posted something on his post in his social media or his WhatsApp. I think that's a responsible approach to it. Rather than singling out this individual and making them feel less of a person or less of an employee for having
Offline.
just expressed they had a rough day today. You know, I think that's,
Offline,
that's different.
I get direct y'all to some companies to go visit.
Oh my goodness.
I have
two thoughts
on that, Dwight. One is there's the question about whether this employee is coachable or not.
Yes,
right?
yes.
If you have an employee who is coachable, by all means, that's an employee that you will work with, you will mentor, you will coach, you will help them to see how their actions impact them.
And their future.
The uncoachable employee, you can make the same attempts with, and if they take the information, they do, but you have to recognize when that employee is coachable and when they're not. The second point is it's super important for every organization to conduct employee surveys. And not just conduct a survey, but do something with the information when the employees give it to you. Because if you give them a vehicle, if you give them the opportunity to share without censorship on your employee surveys, then you get information that helps you. A complaint is nothing more than a gift. And so if an employee, and if you have a theme, if you see a theme through your employee survey where people are saying, you know, someone is unfair or certain practices are unfair, then you know that is something that you should deal with. Don't just do the survey to say you do it, but do it to get your feedback from your employees so you know how to improve your organization and to keep it sustainable for you and for your employees.
Yeah. Wow.
Once again, I will send you guys some companies to go visit because I filled out many an employee manager evaluation form for years.
Wow. All right, let's take this call before we take a break. Good morning, caller, you're on the air.
People get promotion.
Yes, Alan Johnson. Just quickly, first of all, there's no company that should exist right now without a digital media policy. It's reality. Now, what happens is we often think that social media, or which the word social actually means community, so you don't have an expectation of privacy, because the only way for you to post is that the minute you post something, it's irretractable no matter what you think. And if you don't believe it, just go to most of your social media posts, even like Facebook, and see that you give consent for web crawlers, etc., to crawl through your profile. So this keyword. So you have people like me that do employee search for what is called deep search to find out everything on a particular employee, even things they may have deleted from years ago that sits in some cache somewhere. So you're subject to everything else. And that's the same as if you're walking around saying meat is poison and it kills everybody right to the meat store. So you reflect a particular brand or a particular opinion. But when you go now into this whole aspect, is that we think that digital influence analog. Actually, digital is the supremacy now, and analog, where you do things in privately that isn't posted anywhere, is the only means of privacy. They said the best way to keep a secret is to only have one person know it, you. And so there is no expectation of privacy, and so what we live now is what is called a blended reality. So everything you do, say, and whatever influence who people perceive you to be. But the enforceability now in the contract law, and we don't have this conversation even from the unions, is what's the impact of digital media policies and corporate environment in the Bahamas? And I think that's where we need to put it in law.
Thanks a lot. Let's take this one quickly before we go to the break. Good morning, caller, you're on the air. Are you there? No? Okay, let's take that break. When we come back, we've got a lot of very interesting text messages, people telling their stories, what's happened to them, and the interesting things that bosses and HR managers have said to them. My goodness, we need to have you two back to go through this. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio. Stay with us.
Talk too much. You talk about people people that you don't know. You talk about people wherever you go. You just talk.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Hello, sir. Your credit card bill is due. Hello, sir. It's time for your monthly loan payment. Tired of creditors pounding at your door? Sign up for a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank and consolidate your debt into one low monthly payment. What's more, you'll also earn interest on a built-in savings account. The pandemic has curbed many freedoms, but at Fidelity, our focus is to help regain your financial freedom. Visit a branch or speak to Fidelity Bank at 356-7764. COVID safety measures in place at all branches. Fidelity, we're good for you.
No bank on your island? Cash and Go mobile wallet now offers bank transfers. You can still transfer funds directly to any bank account using the Cash and Go app. Simply press the Transfer Funds to Account option in the menu and enter the account details.
You can do it at Cash and Go. Pay all your bills at Cash and Go. Send your money from Cash and Go. Top up your minutes. Cash and Go. Pay insurance at Cash and Go. 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's at Cash and Go.
Got a quick check of your weather for this weekend. Right now, we've got pleasant conditions as a result of that high-pressure system that remains across the area, and we're looking for partly to mostly sunny, hot, and humid conditions today with isolated showers, becoming fair, warm, with passing showers tonight. Temperatures near 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius for your highs. Lows near 73 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. Winds will continue to lighten across the area as the high-pressure ridge moves over the area, and an upper-level trough will bring increased shower activity to the extreme northwest Bahamas by Sunday. Tropics are quiet. We're not expecting tropical cyclone formation over the next 5 days. That's your morning blend weather check, brought to you in part by Cash and Go.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
That you never seen. You talk about people, you can make me scream. You just talk.
And we are back here with Morning Blend Business. Our final few minutes. We are talking with Duquesa Dean and Ahmad Rashad Thompson about social media in the workplace, what you have the right to post and what your workplace can say to you about it. So this is interesting. We're getting some very fascinating messages. Somebody here saying that one of their bosses told me that my WhatsApp photo was not a good reflection to our clients. It was me on a beach somewhere in a hammock and fully clothed.
Yeah,
WhatsApp.
That's that thin, or maybe not so thin line where it becomes my personal opinion or my personal belief that I'm trying to inflict on somebody else, which is absolutely not what this discussion is about.
The only argument I could have is that number a business number or a personal number? If the company gave you that number, by all means, change it to a professional picture. Yes. But if that's your personal number, your boss can go kick rocks.
Right. Oh boy!
Right?
So,
because it's like that's this. Why are clients calling my personal number?
Correct.
Right? Why are clients looking at my personal WhatsApp? WhatsApp is for my direct circle. These are people in my phone who would be able to see my image.
Yeah. All right. Some other messages here. Someone says, I think these organizations go too far and are engulfing every part of the employee's personal life, from adding you to work chat groups on a non-work phone
Exactly.
to auditing your social media, workplaces feel like they own their employees. I look at posts from 7 years ago and laugh. I'm not the same person. All of this is a road too far and will self-correct. Well, we hope. We hope they will.
Miss Dean, I sent you a message.
I'm reading it now, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay. This is not fit for air, I guess. My goodness. Someone said, oh, okay, nope. Can't read that one. This one here saying, I totally disagree with Stephen, though. Professional athletes, celebrities, and corporate employees have sponsors, and companies usually distancing
Because they're
themselves.
spokespersons. The spokespersons. If I am not, which is why I said, unless the company is paying you to post inside your uniform, to post that, look how good the company is treating us. This is the best place to work. Unless they are paying you additional for that, do not do it.
Wait, Stephen, I disagree with that.
I'm saying
I
this is
disagree with
All right,
that.
let them talk, Stephen.
You are not.
Okay.
I disagree with that.
Ahmad?
I think that that can come down to personal enjoyment in the work that I do. If I want to celebrate the work that my company is doing or that a firm has done with me as an employee, or I'm just proud of being a part of something like this, I think that's okay for that person to do. To tell them not to do it if you're not getting a stipend to do it.
The reason I say that is because you're now taking on extra responsibilities, and what is going to happen is one day you're going to be on a boat, minding your business, drinking some Hypnotic or Hennessy or cognac or whatever, and somebody's going to say, I'm not so-and-so, and there's work at Guardian. Oh, I didn't know Guardian people is carrying on like this. And then it's a problem.
It's
No,
far
I just
extremes.
think that if you are looking to help build your organization, and a lot of organizations are doing community work,
Yes.
it enhances the brand of the organization, and it also helps to enhance the stability of the organization, which is what you want. You want to be able to continue working for that organization. So if you choose, like the organization, should not dictate that you do that. But if you choose to be happy about being involved in some community initiative and you're proud of your organization and you post that on your social media off of your own will, granted that it is approved by your organization as a part of their social media
policy.
Right.
Correct.
Then, as an employee, what you're doing is you're buying into what your company is doing and you're demonstrating your belief in your company or your happiness in your company or that particular initiative.
That the company
So I
has
don't
done.
think it requires a stipend.
No, but the
we got
company doing it for
15
money.
15 seconds
The company
left.
isn't doing
Yeah.
it because they love people.
Okay, we got 15 seconds left. This one text, I got to read this. What if you work with a disgruntled boss where you just want people to know never to apply to this company? Well, you just need to quit, right?
Oh my goodness, you should
That's
leave.
right.
You should leave.
Take it upon yourself to move on. It's
Right.
not a great company to work
Everybody
for.
doesn't need to know that while you're
Dwight,
there.
man, and say how horrible a boss Dwight is.
No, I don't believe that.
But I
But
fight the urge.
I agree that if you are in that position, and plenty of people have been in a position where they work for bosses. People
horrible.
leave bosses.
Yeah.
So a lot of times they don't leave organizations. They leave the person that they're working for.
Yeah.
If you work in that environment and other people are feeling the same thing that you're feeling, you don't need to talk about it,
Right.
right?
No.
Because they're seeing it.
You take an action and you move on.
You have the choice to now say, you know what, this does not work for me. I'm not happy. I'm sick. I'm stressed out, and you can look for another job.
Yes, absolutely.
We're going to have to do a part 2 on this, definitely. Duquesa Dean and Ahmad Rashad Thompson, thank you so much for being here this morning. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much
Stephen
for having
Hanna,
me.
always a pleasure. And I'll be back on Monday morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight's trying to have a great, safe weekend, everybody. On the clock with Aaron Green next.